Hello, everybody. This music is fucking hype. Uh-oh. Give me a second while I fix my stream. That's too big. Nice, we already got a whole bunch of people in chat. Let me get Shloms on. I gotta turn that. This music is hyping me up too fucking much. Here we go. It's just wacky. Hey, Shloms.
Hey.
Uh-oh, you're quiet. Hold on. Let me make you louder. Say something now.
How's that?
It's a little better. Let me mess with my
Should
sound
I yell?
settings. Yelling's good. Yeah.
Could just yell the entire time.
If you can keep
That
it
would be
up.
entertaining.
Um,
Can I change the volume on my end?
I don't know. Well, if someone in chat can give us a read on how this audio is, I'm also going to listen really quick using my other headphone. Say something.
Hey, I'm gonna go in settings and see if I can
Cool.
hear output volume. How's that? Better?
Say another thing.
How's my volume?
It sounds better. I think it sounds better.
Yeah.
Kiyosaki says it's not bad. Let me...
I'll bump it up all the way.
yeah, even a little bit more. Sweet.
How's this?
I think you sound good. We'll just check in with chat because
Okay.
it's generally good practice. Shloms, I never actually asked you this. How do you say your handle?
Blomes.
It's Shloms. All right. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Um,
John says
yeah,
it could do with another
my-
10%.
yeah. I'll just try to I'll try to speak from the diaphragm more than I normally would.
Cool. I'll screw with it one little bit more.
Thought.
I think I've got...
Yes. If you right-click my user, you can up user volume.
Yeah, I did that a bit. I'm just going to crank
Okay.
it. I'm just going to crank you using the volume mixer, and God help me if some other Discord sound comes in and it's going to blast everyone's eardrums. Beans has subscribed on your behalf, Shloms. Thank you, Beans. Love it.
Synthbeans is cool. What's up, Synthbeans?
Nice. Oh, Lithros. So, Shloms, I don't know if you can see that little emoji Lithros threw in the chat.
And what is that? A plane?
Yes, it is this is my artwork. This is an upside down plane crashing and
I love
burning.
it. I love that. I think that should be part of the official emoji library.
Yeah, it is. So people sub and they can use these emojis. We got a couple. I only have three.
What do we have to do to get a
To get a Shloms emoji?
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is, I'm not kidding. I've toyed with trying to have the idea of having emojis for every one of my guests. And
Would I have to fund that?
I think
Maybe it's too late. Maybe when I come back.
yeah, maybe when you come back. I'm not that good at Twitch, but I think that the way it works is if you have enough subs, the more subscriptions you get, the more emote slots they give me to use.
Got it. Yeah, Twitch is very confusing to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe because I haven't used it that much. But I mean,
Well, we're about to use it right now, so let's pick a destination and a starting point in a plane. Synthbeans wants to use the emote slot for Shloms emote. You know what? I'm gonna try to do that. I'm gonna write that down.
that would be amazing. I would be honored.
I don't know if I get a full slot, but Shloms emote. I'm literally gonna write this down because you got a great face for an emote. So Shloms, as you can see on the screen, we have the entire world at our disposal. And we can fly from point A to point B. We can teleport around if we get bored. We've been some places before, of course.
Yeah,
but
I feel like I need to know where you've been in order to inform my decision.
we've done New York a lot. We've done a little bit of China. We've done Dubai. We've done the pyramids. We've done a decent amount of Italy. We've not done like London. We've not done... I think we've done a couple really freezing places.
Right.
We
Can
did.
we do North Korea?
Yeah, let's try to do that. Let's see what my options are. Can you find out?
It feels appropriate.
I love that you proposed that. Um, all right, so I just recently looked at a map to find out where North Korea is, but it's a lot harder to tell
Really?
when there's these fucking clouds in the way.
Can you not search it?
No, you can. But
Okay.
let me thank you. Lithros is fucking reading my mind. FNJ. Do you see that? Lithros just threw the airport code in the chat.
I'd like to believe that he just knows that offhand, because that
Right.
would be cool.
There LFNJs in Europe. I'm not seeing FNJ. Why is that? ZKPY. Pyongyang. Yeah, that sounds right. Where should we fly? South Korea?
Yeah, I think that would be fun. I mean, I haven't played this game, which is embarrassing to admit, so I don't know how long that would take. Can we go nice and leisurely?
Yeah, well, it'll
I can
tell us. That'll take us an
go.
hour and a half, which is actually not bad given the
Yeah,
amount of
that
fucking
sounds
around.
about right.
And also, by the way, hello audience, everybody's coming in. Hello, Blunderbusted. So we're gonna basically chill for a while. I want to talk to Shlomes about the stuff he's working on, and I have a bunch of thoughts and questions about that. And then, yes, we will avoid getting missiles out of the sky, I think. And then we're gonna watch some Looney Tunes, and so I think the hour and a half is decent, and we'll have some extra time to fuck around. Shlomes, we got to pick a plane.
Ooh.
So I'll
By the way,
slowly.
your followers ask hard questions.
Well, what do we have? Oh, on the in the list of
Yeah,
questions you got? Yeah,
on Twitter.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
all right, planes.
So here's the deal with planes. So I'm gonna scroll through them kind of quick. You just tell me
Yep.
if something catches your eye. Planes come in categories. Um,
I want
there's
something really weird or very old.
weird or old. Okay, so fighter jet. We got Airbus type planes.
Hmm.
We've got some of these planes really are shitty, but that's okay. We can fly a shitty plane. Um,
Shitty plane sounds fun.
yeah, it sounds fun.
Whatever the shittiest plane you can think of is.
It's
That little diamond one looks funky.
diamond shape, or is it called? Oh, diamond aircraft, the blue guy.
Yeah.
Let's
Or
take the
the
blue guy.
icon looks, yeah, either.
Yeah, the icon's pretty weird. Let's
Yeah,
see.
let's do icon.
Okay, so you want like I think possibly the lowest
Oh,
flying plane.
okay, sorry.
That's
Well, we're
okay.
going over North Korea. We don't,
Right,
want to see what's going on.
right. All right,
We
cool.
can be faster.
By the way, that did increase the flight time to 3 hours and 40 minutes, and we won't have
All
the
right,
gas.
all right. Let's go back. I'll be a little more decisive, and we'll get something more practical.
Yes, you can look at the cruise
Sorry.
speed.
Yep. Okay. Cruise speed.
Uh, these Cessnas. So the one we picked is 85. I don't know. This Textron Aviation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that Textron looked cool.
Cool. Is this the one? This is faster. This will be. Yeah, that brings us back to an and a half. We can switch it
Yes.
when we're in game.
Oh, cool. Let's do it.
All right, nice. We're loading up. Um, Shlomes.
I've already spammed your chat.
Have you? Oh wait, hold on. Are you? You're in the right thing, right? You're in the right. You're in the live one, right? That says your name on the screen.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Last time we had somebody who was in the wrong. Who they were watching one of my videos of a different stream for like 20 minutes. Um,
Well, I mean, we were like looking at the map and the planes together, so that
no,
would
that's
have
true.
been
That's true.
coincidental timing.
Yeah.
You don't see my Unicode characters in the chat?
I actually don't.
Oh, maybe I'm shadow banned already.
You
Anyhow.
you broke Twitch.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. Let me. All right, we're in.
This looks very cyberpunk.
It looks super dark, actually.
I mean, I kind of love it, but I guess there might be darker stretches.
Let's see. Hold on. I can change the time. It is cool. Hold
Yeah,
on.
can we do something like dusk?
Yes.
I don't really know what time that is.
Dusk.
What time is dusk?
We can also do dawn.
Dawn is good too.
because it'll get lighter.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's smart.
This is
That's what I
kind of
meant.
cool. All right, let's do something like that.
How do I get this game? I know that's a really dumb question.
I think this is probably on the Microsoft Store.
Okay.
All right, dude, we're gonna fly over North Korea.
Can't wait.
Let's do this.
I'm a little disappointed my chat stuff isn't working. You'll figure that out.
Yeah, it's weird. Even look at my title. It's just an exclamation point.
No, I see the Unicode characters. Maybe it depends on
Uh,
what computer you're on.
Harmony Lion has a question for you in chat.
Cool. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Swedish? No, it's extremely Jewish. Um, and usually I assume that everyone knows that. So like prior to all this stuff happening a couple weeks ago, I was on a video call with someone because I was a little less serious about my anonymity, and they were really surprised that it wasn't Asian. A lot of people think that I'm the DJ Shlomo, even though they just liked the name Shlomo, and then they just chose to slap an H in there because they thought it looked cool. So now like everyone misspells my name because of that guy's like offhand decision to throw an H in there. So now I really hate him.
But where did he throw the H in?
He spells it Shlohmo.
Shlomo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
a little
there's
annoying.
your answer.
I did wonder if it was Jewish. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
Shlomo.
I was born in Israel. My parents didn't bother to give me an English name.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And actually, my best friend and brother-in-law are both named Shlomo.
Oh, for some reason I parsed that for a second as you saying that your brother was also named Shlomo. I was like, wow, that's commitment. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Kersey ruining his Jewish cred. Someone said in the chat.
hell, are you talking about Luthros?
Someone asked if Shlomo's my legal. Yeah, Shlomo's my legal name. It's Hebrew for Solomon, so it's. I'm named after. Well, I'm not named after King Solomon, but that's where the name originates from. Is King Solomon, son of King David.
So when I was in Hebrew school,
Were
they
you in Hebrew? Are you Jewish?
yeah, I'm Jewish.
Oh, hey brother.
Yeah, what's up, man? Yeah, good to
I
meet
thought you
up
were
with
I
you.
thought you were a Christian.
Because
I guess you can be both.
well, I don't know if you can really be both, but maybe you can be a little bit of. Anyway, I don't have the credentials to opine on that. Um,
Yeah.
but no, my name is Italian, so my dad's Italian,
Oh, okay.
which is where that comes from. But
Right.
the in Hebrew school, they called me Yosef because my middle name is Joseph, and um,
Your first name would be Michael.
yeah, I feel like that would just be a lot more straightforward, thing they call me.
Michael. Well, yeah, but then if you kept that, most people can't pronounce the ch part.
Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in Hebrew school, they're teaching you how to
Right.
pronounce that.
Yeah.
All right, real quick. Lithros, this is one of those situations where I'm really slowly gaining altitude. Is this just a slow fucking plane, or am I like fucking something up? If you want to throw some thoughts in the chat at some point, I'd be interested because even after this would be our 13th or 14th, depending on how you count, episode. And I still am shit at flying these planes. By the way, just to show you, um,
Yeah, I want to know exactly what you're doing right now. Like how technical is this? It
so
looks complicated.
the game is complicated, but you can play it in a simple way. So I'm holding a PlayStation controller. As you can see here on the screen, though, all these little things do stuff. So like I can flip.
Crazy.
Oh yeah, these buttons do stuff. They light up. Um, they they flip. You can move the yoke around. You can there's the throttle, right? Like propeller control, decrease barometric pressure. Like I just flip all the buttons I can. But so people I think actually uh, train at real planes using flight simulators.
Right.
So
I love that we're talking about flight simulators, but I'm also having a heart-to-heart with Harmony about their being Jewish and Christian at the same time.
oh
We're
yeah.
getting a lot done.
Will I stop being Jewish? Am I going against my heritage in some awful way? Will I feel guilty forever? Why do I relate to that?
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about that later if that's something that interests your audience, but I relate very deeply to that.
I mean, I don't know. Since we're on the topic, do you want to say more?
Sure. Yeah, I grew up um, I guess by most people's standards, probably extremely religious. My great grandpa was like a, I guess gray area cult rabbi in the 70s. It's not you know not exactly a cult, but sort of a cult.
Okay.
He had like a lot of hippie uh, Jewish people that he would sort of bring closer to religion. He had like Bob Dylan and I forget who the other guy was, but they came through his school a little. They weren't officially in the school, but they hung out there. It's like real hippie stuff. And then my grandpa took that school over, and it sort of started the community where I grew up.
Okay.
So like in that community, everyone knew who I was. I was the rabbi's grandson, which
Yeah.
sort of you know eh, in high school when I started to stray from the beaten path, sort of put a lot of attention on me, and um, the rabbis would take a lot of stuff, I think, extra seriously and get more frustrated than they would with like the other students, because they could tell that I wasn't really fitting the mold,
You,
and I was the rabbi's grandson.
I've heard that there's a. So I have a couple friends, including Prince Vogel came on this show super early. But I have a couple friends who grew up in like soup. I don't know if fundamentalist is exactly the right term because I'm not like caught up on how even the terminology works. But
Right.
um, it's super Christian context where it's kind of like a meme to be a pastor's kid. They say like
Yeah.
PK,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
and it means a thing. It's like I guess the way I think it was him describing it is that PKs always turn out ultra straight edge or ultra not or something like that.
I don't think it's specifically a Christian or a Jewish. I think it's like a human nature thing. Yeah, for sure. I think that
Right,
probably translates to most religions with like um, sort of priest equivalents,
right.
for sure.
Um,
Um,
Oyster asked if it was a kibbutz or, and I'm also kind of curious if
no,
it's along
no,
those
it
lines.
was no. So a kibbutz is usually a lot more well, first of all, usually in Israel and more political, like socialist almost. This was very mainline Orthodox community. I don't want to say where, but in the
Right,
United States.
right,
Um, so I mentioned that my great grandpa was like this sort of semi-famous hippie rabbi, but then my grandpa took it much more in very Orthodox black hat direction, if that means anything to you. So not quite Hasidic, but ultra Orthodox, I would say. So I in high school I went to all boys high school. Uh, had a strict uniform, stuff like that.
right.
Um, went to Israel for a gap year after high school, and that was sort of where I discovered that you know, it wasn't really for me, and a
Yeah,
whole lot of stuff ensued, and then I became a somewhat normal person. But I,
right.
I definitely think it informed a lot of my sort of abnormal behaviors or quirks. I don't know if you know Ronan from Twitter, but we were talking about that on Clubhouse, and he sort of pointed out that he can sort of relate to my like incessant need to push boundaries and go against the grain because that's sort of a very learned behavior from the study of the Talmud actually.
Hmm.
Um, Not to go into it too much, but that's really like the process of learning in the Talmudic sphere is you challenge every single point. Um, you challenge authority a lot actually, which I think is pretty unique. And there's sort of like an inherent set of rules that define how you can challenge the authority, but still it's you're supposed to nitpick every word, every letter.
Right.
Um, and I thought that was an interesting tie-in, and I hadn't really thought of that before. So he just sort of blew my mind with that.
Well, this is one of those things where the definition of what it means to be like one of these part of one of these cultures gets a little it bends, right? Because there's
Yeah.
the explicit rules, and then there's like, well, you're being kind of Jewish about some way that you
Right.
approach life, right?
Right. And that's also the thing I think from an external perspective. Like if you looked at me, or the community that I grew up in, and let's say a Hasidic community or whatever, I think most people wouldn't really know the difference. Whereas to me, there's like an entire spectrum like a huge diversity. Like I can look at someone and tell based on like something that they're wearing or how they hold themselves, like what part of Judaism they come from.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like the
I was in China for a bit, and we were talking. I had a friend who's American born, but his family's Chinese, and like we are talking about how Chinese people could instantly tell that he was from America. Um,
right.
and it was
Someone in the chat asked if I'm sorry, I interrupted
no,
you.
no.
Someone in the chat asked if we were connected to the Chabad organization. So that's interesting because actually, in the Orthodox spheres that I grew up in, Chabad was considered very heretical. So I won't give the whole backstory, but it's interesting to Google. So they had this rabbi, um, and he sort of became this like messianic figure after he died, and he was really interesting. He I think like hung out with Madonna because she was into Kabbalah.
Mm,
Um,
I've heard of that.
and, yeah, and then a lot of other Jewish sects sort of denounced Chabad later on because Judaism is very not into idolizing humans.
Uh
Um,
huh.
you know, so
Who
actually,
who was the human being idolized in this case?
he's called the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Okay, so
Yeah,
the actual rabbi.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, interesting. Um, Man, this is fascinating. I kind of like. So my situation is I grew up Reform Jewish and sort of became more hardcore in my faith, though not knowing what really direction to aim it later in life, but and not strictly like towards like Judaism per se. So
Right.
I anyway, I've got a whole story, but I used
I'd
to
love to hear it, but whenever you want to
yeah, yeah.
discuss that type of stuff.
I mean, I just found it interesting in comparison to kind of what you're describing because
Yeah.
I, in many ways, felt like one could look back at my history and say, well, there wasn't actually a lot of pressure. In a way, my parents are super duper American in their outlook that it's like kind of like do whatever you want, right?
Right.
And it's like be your own person, do your if you can make money and get by and be healthy and happy, like you're cool. And I used to read these samurai books. I released a kind of podcast style thing on my newsletter where I read bits from the Hagakure, which is this 1700 samurai manual, and I went through this
Sounds cool.
period in my it's super crazy shit. But in my adolescence, where this work is like explicitly is like fanaticism is good, you know, and I think I kind of like maybe for many years felt like I was trying to like spin meaning out of the void a little bit
For sure.
by trying to have some code or some kind of like set of rules, etc., that I wasn't exactly having imposed on me by my pretty normal high school and my
Right.
pretty normal like religious context and pretty normal everything else. But it's like I
That's like
felt
the
like I
exact
needed it.
flip side of my adolescence.
Uh huh.
That's interesting. Because
Yeah.
for me, there were such strict rules, and I just wanted to strip away all the rules. And someone in your chat, this poster by Kurzges, I don't know how to pronounce it, Kurzgesagt YouTube channel, but it is about optimistic nihilism, and like that's really like what I aspired to. I think as a like late teenager in my early 20s. You
Right.
know, I just didn't want to have any sort of external rules. I really wanted to simplify like my moral, yeah, my values. You know, um,
Right.
and I think that pretty accurately describes where I ended up at. But during my teenage years, I think pushing back against the really strict rules that I grew up with ended up in like a lot of anger and yeah, I guess like depression stuff like that.
Right.
So I was a pretty wild teenager. I got my shit together in college,
Right.
and I won't go into it too much just in case I end up getting doxxed and work comes and listens to
Right.
philosophers playing Twitch
Right.
Flight Simulator.
That
Yeah,
arsonist that he had on his, on his thing. Um, so let's talk really quick. So yeah, no, thank you for kind of covering that. I was like maybe we'll touch on religion, but didn't expect to jump in.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
into it.
And by the way, I tend to ramble and go on tangents a lot, so please cut me off if I'm getting too esoteric and
No,
bring me back to.
it makes you a perfect guest because I can just fucking
Thanks.
chill and fly the plane and
Yeah.
like,
I'm also watching you flying the plane and feeling just extremely relaxed and philosophical.
nice,
This is
nice.
this is beautiful.
So this game came out like this year, so the graphics are pretty great. Um,
Is it just like a graphic reboot of the existing flight simulator, or they redid the whole thing?
I don't know the exact like holy shit, Harmony Land's got some crazy emoji. Oh, those are I thought those were like weird skeletons, but those are refs. Um, the I don't know the history of it, but we're flying over Bing Maps.
Oh, cool. Have we passed over Pyongyang yet, or do
Um,
we know when we will?
I don't know. I don't know where the city is. We just left from the
Right. Right.
ZKPY airport.
Can you
Um,
go really low and we like look at the landscape, or will that make you crash?
we can try it. Um, I can also, yeah, let's go a little lower. It's easier with like a fighter jet. Okay, we
Yeah.
basically Lithros is saying we started by Pyongyang, and
Oh,
Pyongyang
okay.
is very small and crappy. That somehow I believe.
Lithros knows everything.
Lithros is the when everything's going to shit, he throws the guidebook from the back of the plane. I'm like, figure it out. Um, so let's well fuck it. Let's go down deep, and I'll start making my way down. I don't know who's here in the chat and like what y'all know about NFTs and stuff like that, because I assumed that we would kind of like do the NFT discussion, like talk about like stuff Shloms has made. Um,
Right.
I do have nearby your. Oh, hold on. Let me. My
It's really
plane.
up to your audience because I have no idea if that's the most interesting thing about me or if they don't care and they'd rather us, you know, talk about everything else. It's really up to them.
Lithra
Lithros
said
said there.
I was inspired to create
Yeah.
NFT art by you.
That's awesome. Can you drop a link in the chat? Will it
No,
moderate that?
no. You can. You totally can.
Yeah, yeah, drop a link. I want to see that.
Well, hold on. Let's really quick. Let's like look at your stuff. I'm gonna kind of try to let the plane
Sure.
fly itself. It keeps turning its nose up. God damn this fucking.
Do you have it there? Should I send you links?
I think I have it here. I'm just gonna be.
Okay.
Let me fuck around real quick. I think I need to click. Um, Here we go. Plus, window capture, add source, new source, add source. Uh, there we go. Now let me
Oh,
change
I
the.
just copy and pasted this and it doesn't make any sense.
So is this where it should be?
Yeah, so this is the last one that I made, but I can send you a link that'll should link to all of them on Rarible, so it won't show like the original pages because I've done on all the different platforms, which we can
Yeah,
talk about. But yeah, this is the last one. Um,
yeah. Send it
that I made.
over. Well, Lithros is sending his. So take a look at that one. I guess you can even actually just drop it in the chat. That works fine.
Oh yeah, that works. All right.
Real quick, I'll show Lithros's because. Oh, cool. Somber lay the lovers by the stultifying sea. Sick.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I like these
See that?
colors. Yeah.
All right, I'm just gonna drop the basic timeline.
Okay.
So, and then I'll drop a link. And I made like two more visual things that I don't really consider like part of the main collection. It was just inspired by something, sort of did it on a whim, and then gave most of the proceeds to charity.
Uh huh.
But this is like the main conceptual thing that people are
Oh,
mostly interested in. And then here's a link so we can see all of them in one place, but it'll
perfect.
be like posted on Rarible, so we won't see the auction info. But
All right, cool.
yep.
Let's take a look here. And our plane seems to be doing good, cruising over
How many
North Korea.
people, Lithros? How many people does this plane hold? I'm having a hard time telling the scale.
I can actually look back in the plane,
That's
so
cool.
I can. There we go. Look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, nice. Look, interior looks pretty nice.
It is cool, yeah.
Yeah.
They add a lot of little touches. It's like look at the
Yeah, there's
bolts,
like stitching.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
impressive.
stitching and shit. They've got Like the floor, like you kind of
Yeah.
can tell what's going on.
The
Like,
piping had like little creases when it bended.
right.
Crazy.
Yeah, and you just wobble around in the sky while your plane just turns for weird reasons you don't understand. But let's look back at the
Or as 10 years from now, we'll look back on this and like marvel at how terrible the graphics were.
right. Look at this trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Wait, hold on, Lithros. I keep turning left. Why does it keep turning left? Is there wind? What's up, Texas Gunner? There's got to be some kind of autopilot shit. I'm gonna do the active pause, so we'll just kind of hang in the air. Let's look at your stuff. So, what am I looking at? What should I take a look at?
So we can just run through like the main four in a row, I suppose.
Yeah,
So
let's
the
do it.
first one would be one by one.
Okay, a single transparent pixel,
Yep. Not much to look at. If you right click, you might be able to open it up in your browser. If you right click on the image itself.
which is somewhere here.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just take your word for it. Okay,
All right, yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty, pretty much what it sounds like. Someone bought that for point 0.2 Ether. At the time, it was about $300.
Yeah.
And I was ecstatic because I had paid about $200 equivalent to mint it. I was kind of debating whether or not I should because it seemed like a lot of money to basically shitpost, and
Mm,
I assumed no one would care. So I was pretty happy. He ended up getting a 2 Ether bid, which is, 1,000% return, and he didn't sell it, which I take as a compliment.
totally.
Yeah. And then the next one, so I called it a completely blank PNG file, which isn't 100% true because I think technically it's not a PNG file since it doesn't have any bytes specifying it as a PNG file.
Uh-huh.
It's really just a completely empty file that I named a PNG to allow me to upload it because most of
Right.
these sites, you can only upload, let's say, a PNG, MP4, or whatever. Um, and it's probably tied with a couple of other NFTs because I think a couple people, I don't know if it was before or after, but people experimented with the same thing.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And wait, I
yeah,
have a
so
question then. So then,
sure.
when it says 30% of sales will go to the to creator, that's at the
Yes.
time of the sale?
No. So okay. So the first one I did was on Zora.
Mm-hmm.
I and on Zora you can set the percentage of royalties. And then the guy who bought it was nice and added 20%. So if that sells, I'll get 40. On
Uh-huh.
Rarible, there's a baked-in 30% royalties. So I think they charged 2.5%. So I got pretty much everything, and then would get 30% of any secondary sales. So if the buyer sells it to someone else.
Oh, so like you keep getting 30%.
Yeah, and
Ah.
part of the thing is that certain platforms are interoperable. You can move the token from one platform to another, and the auction mechanism doesn't really port over, and neither do the royalties. So
Uh-huh.
they're working on that, from what I understand. I mean, I'm not the most technical with this stuff.
Right.
Um, yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, usually I think buyers are pretty cool about it. So zero by zero. I don't really know how to what to call it. I guess 0x0 sold for 4 Ether.
Yeah.
Um, and that was pretty fucking crazy.
Right.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't curse.
No, it's fine.
Um, yeah, I thought that was cool. And the first one got a little bit of attention on Twitter. Then this one, sold for a more serious amount and got a lot more attention and also more criticism, which is good because after the first one, I think I
Right.
even tweeted like I was a little concerned that no one was telling me that it was complete bullshit because if you're making like a piece of conceptual art and everyone's just like, wow, that's really
Right.
cool, then you're probably not making very good conceptual art. Um, Obviously, you don't want 100% of people to tell you it's bullshit because then it's probably bad. But there's like a certain critical
Right.
proportion that you probably want people to hate your artwork.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and
Okay.
we were pretty close. I didn't have enough critics then, but yeah, but the people who were criticizing those first two things, you know, pretty much exactly what you would expect.
This
They
is
don't see any art there. It's you know, nothing visually appealing about it. So for my and also like how can something with 1 or 0 pixels be art, right? Like it's
right.
just you know, trying to get attention or something. So for the for the third piece, I decided to appease the pixel critics,
Right.
give them as many pixels as I possibly could within, the constraints.
Right.
So I posted that one on Foundation because they have a higher like megabyte limit for PNGs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually wanted to go another standard deviation. Like I wanted to go one level higher, but it
Uh-huh.
ended up being way too big and like melting my computer. So this is where I got to. Basically, it's a 1 million pixel PNG, and then embedded within it, there's a zip file. And there's some confusion, so I can explain how I actually did it. But yeah, there's a zip file with,
Uh-huh.
and then you keep going down. There's a series of nested zip files, and then ultimately, all the way at the bottom of this, um, sort of tree, there's another 99 million copies of itself.
Uh-huh.
So in total, 100 trillion pixels. Um,
How?
the second I minted it, I was like, holy shit, I should probably double check that math. But I think it checks out.
Right.
And then because it contains 100 trillion pixels, I called it 10 million by 10 million, even though it's obviously not actually a 10 million square pixel image.
Yeah, for sure. And you probably had to program it to do that.
Uh, you'd think so, but I'm not smart enough to do that, and I didn't. I think by the way, I think I am as far as I know, the first person to mint like a file embedded with another type of file or like a zip file.
Yeah.
Probably not because there's, but it's not really something like people have done. And I
Yeah.
think it sort of unlocks like some cool shit you could do in a very like hacky way, which is appealing to me. But yeah,
Right.
what I did is I took the image, put it in a folder, made 10 copies,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then zipped that, and then made 10 copies of that
Okay, so
zip
you
file,
just
and put
took
that in.
advantage of like the fact of
Yeah,
multiplication, basically.
yeah, but if you're going by a power of 10, you actually get to 100 trillion pretty fast. I mean, I'm sure Lithros can tell us exactly how many levels, but it really didn't take that long to make.
Yes. Right.
And really the hardest part was keeping track of how many there were.
Right.
Um,
You don't
and
want someone
I,
being like, "You fucker, you gave me 100
right,
trillion pixels.
right.
This is worth
And I,
nothing."
I went in there and there's a little Easter egg somewhere in there that no one's found yet. So if
Mm.
anyone has a couple hours to spare,
Uh huh.
I'm sure there's some easy way of figuring that out if you like scan it somehow. But
Right.
yeah, so that's 10 million by 10 million. That one went for 11.11 ether, which is insane. At the time it was like $17,000. Now that's a
Right.
little more than 20 because ether went up so much this week.
Right.
And that, I'm not that far out of college. I'm not particularly wealthy, and I probably didn't invest as much in crypto as I should have in like 2017. So like that's an astonishing amount of money for me.
No, totally.
Um, yeah.
And then,
Then
no, yeah, go
yeah.
ahead. What about this? I hope the world lasts for you, because that's, I think, the first one yours that I saw.
Yeah, so that's actually the second edition of that one. Basically, and the other one I think was probably a little prettier. It doesn't show up on here for some reason. I could send you the link,
Mm.
but yeah, there's this really cool video. Well, I shouldn't say cool, because it's pretty sad, but a video of this old man with Wernicke's aphasia. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly.
We could watch
Uh,
this really quick, just because I
yeah.
do. I obviously like. I want to talk about like this, like
Mhm.
the one by one and stuff like that. But
Okay.
for me, just personally, like this gives me a little bit of proof of artistry, because I don't know how I
Thanks.
feel.
That means a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Well, because I mean, I'm not trying
Some
to
people
like.
have said that it dilutes my shit, which I don't really care what they
Nah,
think. Yeah.
fuck them. No,
Here,
no.
I sent you the link to the first one. I'm a little prouder of that one, even though it's a little less complex. There's less detail to it.
Cool. Where is that link?
Oh, I sent it on Discord. I'll send it here
Oh,
too.
okay.
So here's the first one. Basically, what happened is, and it's not the platform's fault at all, but I had previously used Foundation where there's a reserve price, so that's a minimum, like a floor price.
Mm-hmm.
On Zora, there's an ask price, which is like a buy it now. So I set that at like what I wanted the minimum to be, and someone just snapped it up.
Oh,
I bought
okay.
it for that price, and that's why I made another edition, and I like talked to the guy, so I think it was okay. But it was pretty disappointing because like I was giving half to charity, and thought it would probably go for a decent amount more than that. So yeah, ended up making sort of an alternate version. And this one, I was sort of trying to elicit how like there was like a real sweetness to the guy's voice, even though he's clearly really confused.
Yeah.
He's
Where can I find that
super
video?
kind. Yeah, I'll send it to you. He's
Yeah,
like super kind, and warm, and it's hard to tell how there he is intellectually because basically this condition, you sort of speak normally, but it doesn't syntactically make any sense.
yeah.
You know, your tone of voice and everything, sort of mimic that of someone who's speaking. This synth bean says, wasn't that guy kind of annoying? The old guy with aphasia? I didn't think so. Maybe.
Hold on,
Um,
let's play it real quick because it's a minute
yeah,
and a half.
yeah. So really, the last, the quote in the artwork is the last thing that he said, and I don't know. It always just stuck in my head. You know,
Yeah,
it's a cool quote.
let's just play it real quick.
Oh,
Oh,
Synthbean says the guy who bought it.
the guy who bought it. No, we're not. We're
No
not
comment.
talking shit
That's
about the
cool.
guy. Um,
Yeah,
you won't be able to hear this when I play this unless you tune into the Twitch audio. By the way, Shloms. But I'll just hit play and you've
it's
seen it
all
before.
good.
Shit.
Hi Byron, how are you?
I'm happy. Are you pretty? You look good.
What are you doing today?
We stayed with the water over here at the moment and talked with the people over them over there. They're diving for them at the moment. They'll save in the moment. He'll have water very soon for him. With luck for him.
So we're on a cruise and we're about to
We
get to
will
Juneau.
store it right here and they'll save their hands right there for them.
And what were we just doing with the iPad?
Right at the moment they don't show a darn thing.
With the iPad that we were doing. We, like here?
I'd like my change for me and change hands for me with Happy. I would talk with Donna sometimes. We're out with them. Other people are working with them. I'm very happy with them.
Good.
This girl was fairly good and happy. And I play golf and hit other trees. We play out with the hands. We save a lot of hands on hold for us. Other hands. I don't know what you get, but I talk with a lot of hands for him. Sometime. I talk of any more to saying.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I hope the world lasts for you.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
So, yeah, man, that fucking video.
Yeah, it's like not the most highbrow inspiration for an artwork or anything, but I don't know. It's one of those videos I just come back to. That last quote like really just resonated a lot,
Yeah,
and yeah, I just had this. I can't remember if I like watched it and wanted to make something about it, or if I was like trying to think of what I can make with like my sort of chaotic Unicode stuff that would actually be meaningful, and then like um, thought of the video. But yeah, I
hmm
mean, I guess it's pretty obvious what I'm going for. I tweeted about it a little. I don't like to like over-explain my art, but yeah.
for sure. And I guess actually, I mean, now that you pointed out, I don't know why I didn't explicitly. I might have intuited the connection, but I don't know why I didn't
Mhm.
explicitly make it. But like, just the crazy text and stuff is in this one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's like it's like it's all punctuation marks, right? It's
Yeah,
and there's no like letters, but it's like just jumbled syntax, I guess if that makes and
right.
or, but with you know I think aesthetically I was trying to evoke like kindness through like confusion and chaos, I suppose.
Totally.
And then with the other one, I tried to make it a little darker because it fundamentally is like a tragic condition.
Right.
Yeah, so, I was pretty. I don't consider myself an artist really, and I don't have much technical talent, so I had no, I just thought it looked cool, and I know that my sense of aesthetics sometimes doesn't really like approach what the average person probably is into, so I had no idea if anyone was gonna like that. I told my girlfriend that you know, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna post it or anything because it meant
Right.
something to me, but so I felt pretty good about it. Um,
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to
yeah.
show that one because it's a little bit different from the
Sure.
group of them. Um, the what do I even want to ask you? It's interesting. Because there is that puzzle, right? There's you probably heard the Picasso quote. The journalist asked Picasso to explain his art. Have you heard this one? And he
No, but
says,
I can imagine.
No, they asked him to explain his art, and he said if I could explain it, I wouldn't have had to make it.
Right.
You know, it's like that's the
Right.
that's it. That's the
No,
expression.
right. Yeah. Art. I mean, the whole. Someone asked, I think, on Twitter, like, what? Maybe I'm paraphrasing or getting it completely wrong. But what art is supposed to mean? I'm probably butchering that question, but or what the purpose of art is. I think the purpose of art is to express something that you can't express any other way. Or to evoke a feeling, and by evoke I mean you're transferring it. And when you make a piece of art, I think inevitably every single person who looks at it is going to feel slightly differently than you did. And
Hmm.
probably the goal with most art at least is to try to get them to feel as closely to what you feel, to communicate as clearly as possible.
Mm.
Sometimes, and that's where you get more conceptual, the goal is to confuse, right? And then you're sort of obfuscating the initial intention.
Mm.
Um, and, I think, personally, I think like good conceptual art should at least have a fundamental motivation somewhere underneath, and not just like you're doing something random because it seems like it would appear meaningful and confusing to someone. Does that make sense?
I
Um,
Yeah, I think so. Some kind
yeah.
of underlying like I don't know. Is it that you the artist find it beautiful or interesting in some way? Maybe
Yeah.
it's not your own art, but the thing that it's about.
Right. And then there's obviously art that's just enjoyable and doesn't necessarily mean much. Like, I don't know, Yellow Submarine.
Uh huh.
I think the Beatles are sort of a good example because they have work that sort of spans all the different like archetypes of artistic motivation, like happy, fun, Yellow Submarine is just enjoyable, or like I don't know how familiar you are,
Uh huh.
but 𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚, like then they have number nine, which is just like complete garbled nonsense.
Mm.
Um, and then they have stuff like sort of all in between and on the spectrum of abstraction and incoherence.
Right. The Yeah, it's such a hard thing to talk about. I think in part it's kind of interesting because one thing that happens when artists get good at something, they gain some skill, is that they end up mastering some tool. And then I think to some degree they end up just fiddling with it to do
Right,
something with it and see what it can do. And then, like, sometimes that's worth sharing, even if it's
right.
not some kind of highbrow thing.
Yeah, no, that's true, for sure.
Um, so I guess I'm kind of. It occurred to me to hit you up to be on the show for a few reasons.
Hmm.
And for my own kind of personal shit that I'm working on and thinking about, the I'm becoming more and more fascinated with like new shit, right?
Hmm.
And finding out what that even means. It's like what is new, what is just like rehashing something old. It seems new, but it's not really new. And so,
Right,
you wake up one day, you're fucking around on Twitter, and they're talking about NFTs. It's like, what are NFTs, right? Is this a thing? Is this like new and interesting? Is this some kind of rehashing of an old thing? Is there something? But in any case, no one knows yet because it's sort of like society needs to calculate out the answer.
yes,
And so
right,
then, someone like you grabs onto it and goes somewhere with it, and then it like maybe that is part of what helps make it a thing,
right,
or not, right? Like one thing I think about is like even video games don't have that kind of like artistic they don't get that kind of artistic respect even though it's been decades, right, since they're you know the medium has evolved and there's like a lot of like good story and stuff, but even so it's like could you see a video game in a museum? Probably somebody's done it, but it's not the same kind of level of social acceptance or whatever.
right.
So
And
then
sometimes it just takes time, right? Like
yeah,
100 years from now, I'm sure a lot of the famous video games from our generation will be in museums. I'm not sure in like what format, but
right, whether it's a history museum or an art
yeah.
museum,
Or
right.
like the Impressionists, right? Everyone just thought that was like some newfangled uh, artistic bullshit, and that painting should be an accurate, technically skillful
Yeah.
representation of real life, right? It was considered complete garbage when it came out, and
Mm-hmm.
now those are some of the most like revered painters ever.
Mm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yes.
I mean, I can launch into my, you know, little tirade about NFTs if you want.
Yeah, totally.
So I,
Hit me.
as with most things, you know, I tend to hold two conflicting beliefs at once about pretty much everything.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna, just get on your stream and just start pitching to everyone why NFTs are like the future. But I think that conceptually they're super interesting.
Hmm.
And part of the thing I think is that they present an alternate future conception of digital ownership, even if the technology isn't 100% there yet. Um, and um, and that's the thing with like crypto a couple of years ago. Now it's increasingly clear that it's going to be around, probably forever or, for the near future. But you have a new technology that comes along, and people think like, oh, if the price of Bitcoin is going down now, that means that it was bullshit, right?
Uh-huh.
But really, it's the beginning of a redefinition of, let's say, what it means to what it means to create a currency, or what it means to own an artwork. So to start with NFTs, what's interesting to me is how it's sort of redefining what it means to own something digitally, right? And I think to start with, I mean, if you think about what it actually means to own something, I think it's very hard to come up with a definition, right?
Yeah.
What you look at the stuff that's all around you, and like I'm looking at my mug. I own this mug, but like imagine an alien from a planet where they don't really have possessions, and you try to explain to them what it means to own that mug and why, if someone else takes that mug, it makes them kind of a dick. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to express, right? Um,
I, I
and then
might
when
I
you start
might
to
I might be able to throw an interesting phrase out just because while you're talking
Sure.
about it. There's this phrase of rivalrous versus non-rivalrous goods, and this is something libertarians end up talking about because they'll say if I take your phone, that means you can't use your phone anymore.
Right.
But if I take your idea, you can still use your idea. And so they try
Right.
to often use that argument to sort of argue against intellectual property protection and various things like that. But
Right.
NFTs sits in that weird space in between.
Exactly. But the thing is that societally we've sort of accepted a lot of things that mirror NFTs,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense. That sort of concept of ownership, right? Like I was talking on Clubhouse to this guy who's some like OG domain name investor, and he's very confused about why owning a owning like a blockchain based reference to a one copy of a digital piece of art would be considered actually owning it, or considered interesting or valuable at all. But this guy made his fortune, or however much he made, because there's a centralized entity
Hmm.
that defines strings of characters that you can and can't claim, and if you do claim it by paying them money, then you can put whatever you want there as a website, right?
Mm.
And that's a completely abstract uh, form of ownership, right? That's just defined by a uh, centralized entity. It's just a string of characters that if I type in into my browser, points to whatever they choose. There's no substance there, right? Like they don't.
Mm.
What do they actually own? What they own is uh, some centralized entity saying that they own it, right? Or if you go on your phone and do some online banking, like the dollar is largely a digital currency right now, not a cryptocurrency.
Right.
So the concept of ownership is super abstract already. You own this Twitch channel. I don't, kind of hard to express what that means,
Uh huh. Uh huh.
simplistically. Um, and where I
Maybe
think
it's more
that
like Twitch owns it, and it lends me a
yeah,
little stand every once a week where I can come and hang out.
right,
Yeah.
right. But if I like hack it,
Right.
I'm hacking you and not quite Twitch. I mean, but yeah. But with NFTs, I think where sort of the disconnect comes in is like the common criticism is that you can make a million copies of the NFT,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas I think a good analogy would be like a signature, right? It's not a
Mm.
physical signature, it's not like a visual signature, but let's say there are like a million Derek Jeter. I don't know why I'm thinking of Derek Jeter baseball cards,
Sure.
but yeah, million Derek Jeter baseball cards in circulation. Probably get you like $2 if you go on eBay. Um, Derek Jeter signs one of them, and now it's valuable because that's the one that he signed.
Right.
It's not really, you know, uh, it's not really fundamentally any different. It doesn't have any more inherent value other than the fact that he signed it. Probably a better analogy maybe is like an artist and a print of their work. But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, I think you get the point. So I if I make this artwork and someone else steals it and puts it on another website and tries to sell it, I would think that, and me, you can copy someone's artwork and try to pass it off as your own, but assuming they don't, and and the buyer has complete information, I think they would be interested in the one that's that's
Legit.
signed by the creator. I think what NFT buyers are, especially of like one of one creations, what they're buying is like the sanctioned digital copy created by the creator, and they don't really care that everyone else can access it or can save it onto their hard drive, right?
Right.
Um, and that's a form of ownership that probably 98% of people on the planet don't really recognize. But the thing is, like, I think what society does and doesn't consider a valid form of ownership changes really quickly. And once it does, it doesn't really matter if there are any stragglers who think that it doesn't constitute ownership, because it just sort of does once a critical mass of people think that it does, if that makes any sense.
Totally.
And I think what you're seeing right now is an increasing amount of people who think that there is, some version of the future where a blockchain saying that your wallet that you own the private key to, quote unquote, owns a specific copy of a digital item or file is valid ownership. And I think that's really cool, actually. I think that, like with any craze, like with the ICO craze a couple years ago, there are going to be people who pretty much spit out any random industry or concept. Like they're going to say, oh, this is going to fundamentally change agriculture, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You could probably make like a word generator that just like comes up with what NFTs are going to transform, or what
Right.
what ICO. But some of those are probably going to end up being true, I think. And I'm sure that the price of Ethereum is going to crash soon because like tax season or whatever, and people will stop buying NFTs maybe for a while. But I think that that it sort of has already proven that that there's some sort of value there, and what it is remains to be seen. There are some problems with NFTs. So for example, on most sites where the media is actually hosted on IPFS, which is like a distributed, I guess you could think of it sort of like a Google Drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's stored on the blockchain is actually a hash of that image.
Okay.
And that means that the actual image isn't persistent and isn't stored on the blockchain forever. Like if Ethereum lasts forever but IPFS doesn't, then you sort of get the same problem that like the early internet did with link rot.
Right.
It's partially not a terrible thing, because it also means that if I steal your art and put it online, or if I put something illegal or really fucked up online,
Right.
as an NFT, there's potential to take it down
Mm-hmm.
through IPFS. So I'm not really a decentralization fanatic, and there are some benefits to having mild centralization to some of the stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. So because I was Googling around this a little bit, and like one of the things, a lot of so first of all, some people are really upset, right?
Yes.
Like some people are real mad. I saw a guy.
Someone was circulating a block list on Twitter. A couple
Mm-hmm.
people were, which is just people who've minted or are into NFTs, and they're just blocking them out of the gate, which I think is pretty intense.
Yeah, no, and that seems frenzied to me, but there's something like I saw someone they posted a picture of like it was like they made their own art of like Pokemon, which by the way is funny as hell because they're like it's my art of Pokemon, but also it's like fucking Pokemon, dude. But like you don't own that, right? So, but anyway, no one notices. But and someone had, I guess you can at a certain account on Twitter, and it'll I don't know what happens.
Tokenized tweets.
Right. So okay, yeah, ℙ𝕙𝕚𝕚𝕚 is talking about this. Oyster referenced a novel about a guy who forges paintings. Their recognitions. That is fascinating. Someone should do a book group on that with like NFTs and like make an NFT about it or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Reading that book.
It's interesting that people criticize like the potential for fraud or whatever. I think it would be pretty hard to think of like any form of art that completely reduces fraud, right? Like I was reading earlier about like hundreds of millions of dollars of paintings being forged, right? And
Right.
no one's really like, well, I guess we shouldn't make paintings then. It's something that you try to avoid. But I
Yeah.
don't think the fact that it's possible for someone to get away with is an argument against the whole platform.
Yeah, and
The whole concept in general.
it can't be because if it were, then we would never do anything new. I mean, it's sort of like in a zoomed out sense, like when I talk about like being interested in like new things, new shit,
Yep.
it's like trying to operationalize futurism. So
Right.
futurism as an abstract thought process is one thing, but by operationalize I mean what does it look like to be a futurist in real life, in the sense that you're like looking at shit changing and you're trying to imagine the next step and the next possibility
Right.
while not being swept up in it. Like I think a lot of the Bitcoin maximalism type stuff is totally hilariously like insane.
It's almost not very imaginative, because if you can only imagine one possible version of the future, then you're not really thinking about it like like a Bayesian sense.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's
Like
I
multiple
think
options and
yeah, like
conditional
with
statements and stuff.
exactly, because at least to me, I think there's like a fundamental element of randomness to the future, and there's a lot of different events that could lead to different outcomes. So, like I don't, no matter how much I think Bitcoin is really cool, the fact is it's an early enough technology that there are like a lot of possible futures for it. And I think if you think that like there's
Yeah.
only one possible outcome, that means you're not really critically engaging with the topic, probably.
And
Or you're just a lot smarter than me, and that's actually the truth, maybe.
well, and there's an additional thing, which is there's this weird strain of like Bitcoin optimism, which is also kind of like, well, I own a lot of Bitcoin, so if everyone gets
Yes.
hyped about it, it'll go up. Um,
I sort of understand it because I briefly leaned towards it in like 2017
I mean, it's
because
not a
I had
bad
invested a
time,
bunch of money in Bitcoin, and I was like, well, fuck everything else, right?
right?
Yeah.
No, no. Admittedly, a lot of people got a major wins. We got some
Yeah.
some new Bitcoin
Yes.
rich individuals, so they've got some
Yeah.
credence.
Right. But to go back to the original thing, so I
Yeah,
think it's like a classic Mott Bailey argument, if you're familiar with that, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
here's one problem with this platform, so it's complete garbage, and we shouldn't do it. And that's sort of also the same thing with the environmental stuff, which I assumed you were going to bring up at some point.
Right. I was not even going to bring it up because it's so
Uh,
stupid to me that I can't bring myself to care about it. But I don't know if anyone shares my view on this, but it seems
I think
completely
it's
nuts.
stupid. I think that, it's worth having a conversation about, but the problem is that every single critical article that I've seen, first of all, completely conflates um, the energy expenditure of a single block, which includes, I don't even know how many transactions, but a ton.
Right.
And blocks are going to happen whether or not I personally mint my NFT. It's just, does my NFT get included in the block or not? So to hold, and so there have been these analyses holding specific artists personally responsible for the entire block that mines their NFT, because you can't really separate out the computation for one NFT versus anything else in the entire block. So
Hmm.
they're like, oh, that NFT used as much as flying a 747 for 50 years straight, or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
And and so I think, first of all, to actually engage with that type of analysis, like I would need to see something that actually makes sense. And I'm sure that it's probably a lot of energy expenditure, because it's proof of work. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it sort of comes at the problem from a scarcity mindset. So, hey, you minted an NFT and that uses a lot of energy, so I'm gonna vilify you and block you on Twitter, instead of, maybe the problem is actually that we don't have enough renewable energy, or enough energy in general, because
Yeah.
there's nothing fundamentally harmful about using a lot of energy, except for the fact that we don't produce enough of it.
Right. Yeah. I basically that is how I see it, and it's like I don't know. It's just by default, like something changes, and then some people worry that they're going to be affected by it. So then they identify the
Right.
worst features of it, and then they yell and scream. And it's like
Right.
the basic, like low level, almost physiological reaction of a sort of immature people. That,
Right.
Yeah.
And not to be like the "Yet You Live in a Society" comic that you've probably seen on
Uh-huh.
Twitter, but there are so many other things that use ridiculous amounts of energy in like a global scale, that are just minor conveniences that everyone still uses. I won't even like bring up an example, because there's so many of them.
Mm.
But it's really not like the cryptocurrency industry is like the only problem, and something that everyone should be spending 24/7 debating on Twitter.
Yeah.
Until they fix the fashion industry and I don't know, fucking water bottles.
Right.
So
Really quick, just because we're
sure.
like, uh, by the way, chat. If anybody wants to call in, this is something we can do. I just wanted to throw that out there
Yes,
explicitly.
please call in. I would
Yeah.
love to talk to any of you.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to, there's a Discord link. Harmony Line, you want to get in? So yeah, there's a Discord link. Get in the Discord. Um, I mean, you don't even have to if you don't want to. Just jump in the lobby voice channel. But by default, yeah, we have people post and call-ins about like what the topic. The Oh, cool! You did exclamation. You used one of my commands. Yay! Someone used my commands. Um, but yeah, no, totally. Jump in the Discord. Get in the lobby channel. I'll drag drop you in. Um, and also, let's hit some of those Twitter questions at some point.
Sure. Also, we never talked about my last piece, but I'm kind of fine with that because I put the reserve price way too high, and it didn't get a bid yet. So.
Right. Well, let me put it up on screen just so
Sure.
I can say I did.
Some people, it sort of got mixed reactions, which I guess is good. It was like a little bit, a very slight left turn conceptually, but some people said they thought it was my best work. Some people said they thought I shouldn't have done it in the first place. So I don't really know what to think, but I liked it.
Okay, can I read this?
Yes.
So do I say 1 by 1 or 1x1?
Either works.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Cool. My previous pieces, 1 by 1, 0 by 0, and 10 million by 10 million, have sparked much controversy due to the fact that they do not contain enough or any art. To appease the critics, I've created art, a high-resolution 2385 by 4289 scan of the Mona Lisa, verified as 100% authentic artistic expression, according to most experts in the field. That's true. Overlaid with the 2385 by 4289 white rectangle, painstakingly handcrafted by the artist. So is the Mona Lisa...
On Twitter, I also included a full-length video of myself creating it.
Okay, so it's confirmed. It's like...
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a full video of the process. It's almost 2 minutes long.
It's amazing. All right.
I'll send it to you. I'll find it.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No. Well, we've got Bean Boy in the lobby. If
Cool.
you wanna bring him in.
Wait, but I just wanna ping the video so we can.
Oh yeah.
You shouldn't watch the whole thing because you'll see why. But here it is.
Oh, should we watch part of it?
Yeah, just to get the
Get a vibe.
sense of it instead of me
Alright.
describing it. And also, I would just add, because a lot of people see that my art is so minimalist.
Yeah.
They sort of think that it takes no effort. This took me almost 2 hours to fucking make, and it's just a plain white rectangle. But between setting it up, figuring out the copy and stuff like that, 2 hours isn't nothing. I mean, people spend way more time on their art, but like this took a significant amount of effort.
Yeah.
And also like a week of neurotically thinking about it.
Is there audio?
No.
Okay. I'm staring at this block.
Yeah. That's the rest of the video.
That's it. You motherfucker. I like this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Thanks.
I just want to see the action real quick. One more time. Boom. Hold on. Let's get a replay. Beautiful.
That took a couple takes.
Yeah. It was well placed. I do like how you placed that.
Thanks. I downloaded like multiple video recorders, did it in several different photo editing tools.
Right.
Very, very anal about those 3 seconds of me dragging that white box.
And we benefit from it. All right, let's get Bean Boy, and we also have Mike Elias is in the lobby. Let's go. Bean
I just
Boy.
want to ask WTMMP in the lobby, when you say "damn, it looks better," are you referring to the Mona Lisa looking better as a completely white rectangle? Because I 100% agree with that. I've only recently discovered, like within the past day, how much I fucking hate the Mona Lisa. I tweeted about it a bunch. Oh yeah, he said you improved it.
Nice.
Or they said it.
All right, here we go.
Sure.
Bean Boy, if that is your real name. Welcome to Philosophers on Twitch playing Flight Simulator. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hey, is this Synth Beans?
Yeah, this is Synth Beans. Also, it's a little toxic to be hearing my voice followed by the... Yeah.
Just
Okay.
mute Twitch, and you'll still be able to hear us.
Yeah, I muted Twitch. I was having a really hard time.
Yeah, sorry.
So, someone in the chat said I doxed you. I'm very sorry.
No, I think it was a pretty straightforward conclusion. I think I doxed myself via some comments, but only if only someone here follows me on Twitter. So I think I'm mostly safe.
Right.
That'd be the real dox.
What's going on? How's the stream so far? This is my first time being live interviewed. Hopefully it's not too boring.
It's been pretty entertaining. entertaining. I was especially like surprised. You tweeted one time about something about a Jew from New York and a bagel, but I didn't realize that you had like quite such a rich religious history. So that was interesting to hear about.
Thanks. Yeah. Quite a rich
Especially,
religious history.
especially when it comes to my compiling a dossier on who is Shlomes.
It helps that I don't look remotely Jewish in real life.
Just a bunch of pixels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, imagine this like your profile picture is actually just like a frontal photo of you. Everyone thinks it's like some digital artwork.
It might be.
We just see you walking down the street in like the city one day.
You recognize like the vague profile of my face. Mhm.
Yeah.
Did you have a do you
Yeah,
have a
I
question
think
for us, Synthbean?
no, I was just curious how this would work. I also didn't expect to like be called in immediately, and I wasn't sure how the system worked. I just kind of joined the Discord, and I was like, oh.
That means we've been
Uh,
Twitter friends for how long, and you don't have any questions?
I mean, I think I tweeted one question. My question was how many pixels is too many pixels? I think I tweeted that, which is even further doxing myself.
Well, I don't think you can ever have too many pixels. I think pixels are fundamentally super valuable. I personally
Mm,
couldn't really live without pixels, based on my current
mm.
lifestyle. And I think Daniel, who's probably in the audience, we were talking about figuring out how to make like a recursive NFT so that contains infinitely many pixels. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you
Oh
can ever
yeah,
really.
Sky's the
that
limit.
guy. Who's,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. That guy is probably in the audience, and almost certainly not me.
By the way, this is a really pretty part of North Korea, wherever we are.
I think we just flew by like a fucking golf course or something. Like, I want to
With no
move
one,
here.
with
This,
Yeah,
no one on it except when like ambassadors visit.
yeah. Well, you'd have a great game.
Synth means where does the
it's
name
actually.
synth means come from? Do
Oh,
know,
it's
like synth.
it's a really funny story. Yeah, yeah. So I was starting my Instagram account, and I was like, I need a personal brand, and so I opened up a notebook and was like, what do people know about me? They're like, they know that I have a synthesizer, and my friends know that I eat a lot of beans because I'm Cuban, so I love me some beans.
Hell
And I
yeah.
was like,
So
that's
those
it.
are
There you go.
they're just the two most relevant nouns from your life.
Yeah, at least when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like pretty much. Otherwise, it would realistically be like piano beans. But like, I wanted to make my Instagram more like synth focused. So I was like,
That's cool.
this also has a better ring to it.
We should collab. I play guitar.
Oh, well, perhaps we will. I haven't posted on Instagram in an incredibly long time. The last thing I posted was
You're saving
LOL
it up
strawberry banana,
You're saving it up for
and
NFTs?
it was a. I don't know if I'm ever going to post NFTs under Synthbeans. In fact, I've been considering retiring the brand and
Really?
just rebranding as something else. Yeah,
Damn.
it's just, I
Well,
find it like personally tiresome to like operate under a pseudonym.
Oh, it's exhausting.
me too. That's why I don't do it.
Right. Wait, guys,
Yeah.
give me 10 seconds. I'm gonna grab a drink.
Word.
All right.
Welcome to Potfist Synth Beans. I am going to kick you out at some point just because we got a couple more people in the lobby, but we can chill while Shlomes is grabbing a drink. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I've been following Shloms for a while, and
Yeah.
he was like, I'm like doing a practice run for like potentially being interviewed by Bloomberg, and my friend is gonna like talk to me on stream, and I was like, well, I have to see this. And
Hell
this
yeah,
stream
dude.
is not what I expected, but probably cooler actually.
Bloomberg gets all their best
Uh,
shit from me. I mean, let's be real.
Back.
What's up?
Oh, hello.
Status
You were
update.
talking about.
I froze my drink and then it exploded all over me. So
That quickly?
yeah,
Shit. All right.
it needs to be about once a week because I really like my drinks cold and then my freezer is a little finicky. So it's always either
Right.
warm or completely frozen.
Yeah, there's stuff you can do about that, but I'm sure you could Google. Um, all right, let's get Mike Elias because he chatted with him real quick on Twitter. I'm going to bring him in the lobby. Synth, thanks for coming by. Feel free to call back in at any point and help
Yeah,
the
thanks,
Okay,
thanks,
yeah,
chat.
Synth. Nice to hear your voice.
Oh, we immediately yeah. Okay, well I'm putting you back in the lobby. We're gonna get Loafgren instead. Hey Loafgren, You're on Twitch.
Hello.
Hey,
Welcome.
friend.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Are you? Do I know you from Twitter, or are you a Michael Kersey stan, or both?
No, I don't think you know me.
Cool.
Wait,
Well,
let me
I like
mute
your loaf.
this.
I like
Let
your
me
loaf
mute this
icon.
real quick. Thank you. So I have a question for both of you. I was wondering if I could mint this stream.
How does that work? I don't even know the technical answer to your question.
So technically, I mean, if you're talking about like making it as an MP4, I would assume it's way too large. What you could do is put it on IPFS and like mint the link, or
No,
guess
yeah, I
try
was
it.
wondering if I could just have your guys' permission.
To
Oh.
mint the stream?
Yeah.
I think so, assuming I don't manage to dox myself in the rest of it.
Well, hold on. Let me understand, what are the consequences of this decision? I don't know that I'm in a position to decide, you know, like how does this work? What does it
Well, I
mean?
don't.
Also, I think we need to negotiate Michael's percentage and mine.
Right, obviously.
Well, I think I can do it without your guys' permission, and this is just sort of a courtesy.
Not if we do it first, or we
Well,
just do it after.
Shlome's mint it now.
That's a good point.
Wait,
Maybe
so
we'll just split it 3 ways then.
Yeah.
I mean, we could I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, Lithros says, as a lawyer, I advise against it. We'll see you in court.
Of course, Lithros is a lawyer.
Wait, but hold on. What does it even mean? Yes, thank you. Says, what does it mean to mint? What does that even mean to mint it?
What it means to mint is it's like the NFT version of Post, but it's minting as in like the Federal Reserve minting a currency, right? It just means creating it.
I get it abstractly, but like,
Okay.
here's my naive response: is like, you made a picture and then there's an NFT. I'm on stream, so are we minting the video file, the concept of the stream, like
Yeah,
my
no,
Twitch,
it would be
my
the file.
URL?
You could do the URL. It would probably be pretty boring mint. Yeah, but usually it's either a video, a PNG. It's usually a file.
Okay, and so then someone would own that
Someone would own
token.
assuming it's one of one, they would own. People call it like owning the stream. You don't really own the stream. You own that specific digital representation of the stream. Yeah. But you could do like 10 editions. Personally, I think doing like multiple copies of the same thing sort of dilutes the value a lot.
Right. Wait, so Loaf, what are you...
With the file size, though, if I did like 20, gave them all.
Oh, you're saying you would split it up?
No, but that's a good idea. I just thought of that now. I was thinking of one thing.
Right.
With the file size,
Well, you could mint all of the pictures, every frame, in a sequence of folders.
Like a mosaic.
Yeah, like a mosaic.
I think a better opportunity is minting Michael's mustache,
right?
Because I'm sure this specific stream will go down in obscurity as the most boring philosophers playing Flight Simulator. But the mustache is iconic, and will probably be a lot more iconic in a couple of years when Michael is like the most famous Twitch philosopher.
Right.
Well, I figure I'll like sit on it for a little bit, and then the Bloomberg stuff will hit, and then
it'll pop.
Yeah.
Well,
so it sounds like I have the okay. So thanks.
I can neither confirm nor deny that assertion based on the advice of my lawyer.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lovegren.
Can I mint your loaf wearing sunglasses?
Mint that motherfucker back.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
All right, cool. We're gonna bring in the next caller real quick, but thanks for calling, Loaf.
Wait, Synthbean said, just like my vast collection of tokenized Shalom's tweets. Synthbeans, are you Daniel, or... I'm very confused now.
We've been targeted by an NFT attack. It's amazing. No, I think swearing's fine, by the way. Okay, hold on. Let's bring in Mike Elias. Hey, Mike, you're on stream.
Hey, Mike.
Oh, you hear me okay?
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for calling me the Banksy of crypto on Twitter.
On Twitch, I cannot hear a thing.
Oh, so
My pleasure. I meant it sincerely. Yeah.
Yeah, so you should listen to us through Discord. It'll be more up to speed because the Twitch has a bit
Yeah,
of a
and just
delay.
mute the Twitch like in the browser and the player.
Alright,
But we can hear you.
muting Twitch. Now that I'm on Discord, I cannot hear a thing. So I expect the next message you'll communicate to me will have to be in the chat on Discord, or
You
I won't
can't-
know it's there because I just
can't hear us?
get nothing right now. I'm not sure
All
why.
right, we hear you, bro. Just ask a question, and we will respond.
That is a good idea. Ask a question and then shut up. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear more about your previous life and thoughts about crypto, Shlomo. I didn't really become aware of your work until recently with this NFT craze, and but I just appreciate the way you think about stuff. I really enjoy the humor and the sort of Talmudicness, to use a term that you were referring to earlier. And I don't know. This is a fun world, and I like having you in it.
Thanks, man, and hopefully you can hear me through Twitch. But yeah, I mean, previous to this.
I just unmuted Twitch.
Cool. Previous to my little NFT endeavor, so about 2 weeks ago, I was pretty much doing the same thing, but through Twitter. It's a little hard to describe. It's a little hard to describe my aesthetic on Twitter, and it's sort of changed over the past 2 weeks due to my newfound in-group fame. But yeah, I mean, the same type of thing. I like fucking around with
I think
Unicode.
I followed you, actually. This occurs to me. I might have found you like 4 or 5 months ago, and you used to have a pinned tweet that was like 240 like rows deep or something. You have to scroll down super far just to get to the next thing.
Oh, I still have that.
Still has that shit.
Yeah. So
Okay, good.
yeah, I mean, I guess you
Alright, so
get it.
the art
then.
began before the NFTs, and it was just waiting for the medium to come along.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two options either are I'm not an artist or I was an artist already and no one realized it. Because I think I was talking to someone else earlier for a separate interview, and he sort of pointed out that shitposting is an art, or at least the lines are blurred. And I think it's kind of hard to distinguish at some point between shitposting and art. I mean, I started out on Twitter, I guess like 4 years, I think 4 years ago, maybe longer. And I was like super serious, like, I was like, I was in tech and I was trying to like prove to people that I was smart, and I think that's really the wrong way to use Twitter. And I have some friends who are still like very serious on Twitter and trying to be like a little overly.
They're stuck in a serious posting gulag.
Yeah, and the thing is, you could be so much more intellectual by being a little humorous about it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And playful. But yeah, so I have this like series of quoted tweets from like talking about the I'm a victim of the shitposter to. Sorry, the intellectual to shitposter pipeline was the first one. Now I think it's intellectual to shitposter to chaotic nonsense to underground NFT artist, something like that. But I think that pretty much elucidates the direction my Twitter account has taken.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and also, I mean, I not to talk too much about it, but I have a pretty boring.
I've definitely noticed that the.
Sorry. What were you saying?
Oh, go ahead. There's this delay on Twitch. Go ahead.
I told you.
Yeah, so I not to talk too much about my day job, but it's like pretty abstract and niche. I wouldn't say necessarily boring, but definitely doesn't really use like the creative part of my brain, which I think is why I'm like completely just chaotic on, I shouldn't say schizo, but on Twitter, and sort of like these two alternate identities, and the probably more accurately me. And I'm sorry to anyone who's listening who's really frustrated by like the Unicode and all that stuff, because some people don't like it. And I actually recently changed the Twitter name back to give people a little bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see where that goes. But I think I'm rambling and forgot the original question.
I think you hit it.
All
Cool.
good. I really appreciate that. It took me forever to realize that the smarter you are, the dumber you act. Like, people have been saying that for
Yes.
a while, and I
It's
think
that
I'm just a little
IQ bell
too
curve meme, right?
low context for that to be a natural intuition to have. But yeah, it definitely seems like I saw someone. I think it was. I'll have to tag him on Twitter. I don't remember his actual name, but someone was just saying we need a reverse dog whistle, something that only the intellectuals can hear that can't be like abused. And I think memes and shitposting are evolving into playing that role, because there is kind of this wavelength you have to be on in order to appreciate what's going on. It's not just bullshit. It's not shit. Shitposting is not shit in the sense that it's valueless. It's that it's in this weird sort of actually avant-garde, sort of space that communicates in a way that certain class of intellectual actually finds like progressive and exploratory, and you don't really get that until you do.
I think that's very well said.
Yeah, I appreciate that characterization of it. Makes me feel a little bit more like we have an intellectual culture for a minute.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
I think eventually, like, memes, shitposting, and intellectualism, or at least a
Yeah.
specific strain of intellectualism, sort of converge and are somewhat indistinguishable from one another, or at least like doing one can sort of dip into the other.
Yeah, my
It's
kind of
almost like things have gotten so chaotic, and the battle to imitate intellectualism has gotten so frenzied that the only way to escape it is to hide yourself in idiocy.
For sure. I can't. Yeah. I think if you graphed like the frequency with which I like, I mean, I guess I still will use like a large word here and there, but like the frequency with which I made a post that like was clearly about me trying to prove how intelligent I am, like it would just look like a straight line downward. And I'm sure there's a little bit here and there, but I think it's much more interesting if people express that through like being creative or pushing boundaries than like, oh, here's my really boring, nuanced take on, I don't know, industrialism or something. Maybe that's not a good example because that would actually be.
that does sound kind of. Yeah, I think that's like there's some proportion or something. I mean, the truly shittiest shit posts are quite bad. Like there is a level of just shit, and I think part of it is flirting with that line. You sort of
I guess
learn
what
things.
I mean more is like people whose entire presence on Twitter is like, look at all the fancy thoughts that I have, and like here's like a really complicated infographic that I made, and here's my really really complicated take on like
like
Dachshund
LinkedIn, Twitter.
Right, exactly. And some of those people are actually really smart,
For sure.
but it just isn't interesting.
Yeah, I can't blame people for trying to have a normal career, but I generally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks for calling in. I'm gonna
Thanks, Mike.
bring in Lithros. But thanks for calling in.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, glad to have you. To get those thoughts.
By the way, if anyone's on Clubhouse, please join ℙ𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚 cult, or just message me on Twitter.
Can you link that somehow?
I think I can link it, and 10 people can join.
Okay.
I think that's the max. But also, if anyone just like DMs me their Clubhouse username, I just created it yesterday, so I haven't actually made a room yet, officially under ℙ𝕚𝕚𝕚 cult. But
you know what? If you want to post that maybe in the Discord at some point, or I can just hit you up about it afterwards, because I want to use Clubhouse more, but I never do because I never feel like I want to talk to anybody. But if I had a crew that was fun to hang with, I will,
Yeah, so I've been on Clubhouse since I think like April, which sounds, and that first month it was pretty fun, and then it got like super marketing-y, and I didn't use it for months.
Right.
And now I've been using it a little more again because some of my friends have been using it again, so there's some more of those rooms that are just chill, and then I've been talking about NFTs.
Yeah.
So I've been using it a lot more lately, but yeah, the plan with ℙ𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚 cult is just chilling in a room, sort of like this vibe, just with more people, and like
totally.
If no one has anything to say, like just being comfortable with silence. And I think my theory of Clubhouse is like any room where there's like a specific moderator, like giving people turns to talk, like where it feels like a conference, is probably going to end up being boring. Some of the rooms that I've made, eventually I'm too nice and I invite too many people, or I like make other people moderator, and then it gets too big and like people will derail the conversation towards something
you got
to or too serious.
You need an ounce of cruelty to be a true king.
Yeah, because you gotta just keep it. I just don't want to be in a serious room. I want to just chill out. But anyways, yeah, that's a.
I'll totally join you. I'm hoping to do some of that type of stuff, like run some rooms and shit when Twitter Spaces comes out, but maybe
you should do Philosophers chilling on Clubhouse.
Right? Yeah, I could just have my fucking Clubhouse like open on my phone while I just talk, and People respond back. I want to hear. Really quick, just because, and I am going to bring Lithros on, I promise. But WTMMP said Wittgenstein believed you could write an entire rigorous philosophical work comprised entirely of jokes. The thing that made me thought of is the thing that made me think of is there's a specific Japanese sage who was known for his like raucous humor and how he would use humor to bring people to enlightenment. And so one of his parables is a frog farts alone in an empty bog. This too is the sound of God. And I fucking love it. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to share
I
that.
think there's also I forget his name, a Greek philosopher who was similar, but I think like with being really raunchy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, Diogenes.
This
Yeah.
dad is totally. All right, let's get Lithros in the chat. Lithros,
How's it going?
what's up, my man? So
Quite all right.
really quickly, just for the stream, I need to shout out Lithros for always being here to fucking help me fly the plane and also giving me great video game recommendations. Lithros, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Think nothing of it.
Welcome,
so,
Lithros.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being here. I think it's really cool to talk about all the different applications of blockchain stuff. I feel like for several years, it's been kind of a meme or a joke thing where anybody's bright new business idea, and for context, I work in a business school, so I have to hear all kinds of aspiring young entrepreneurs pitching their idea to disrupt whatever industry with the blockchain, even in ways that make absolutely no sense. And it's really
Yeah.
cool to finally be seeing things that are really valid applications of it. Particularly like you're showing with art, and you've talked about it already, but how like we already have certificates of authenticity, and if they're paper or if they're attached to the blockchain, it's still basically the same idea.
For sure.
The
And-
thing
and-
that go ahead.
Wait, sorry. No, you finish.
No, I wasn't gonna jump to a new thought. Please respond first.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that, and also like I 100%. I think you totally get it, and also like I think that one of the most interesting parts to me that isn't even like a super super serious or like not a very like business relevant thing, but just from a sense of aesthetics, right? Like I think what a lot of people are doing is just putting like what they would have put on Instagram on the blockchain, and that's cool, and some of them are making a lot of money from it. What interests me the most is like unlocking new forms of creativity. Sounds a little cliche, but I guess that pretty much expresses it. Like I think the stuff that I made would have been pretty shitty art if it wasn't an NFT. Like I think the fact that it's an NFT is sort of critical to the art. I can't really express exactly why. And I think there are some other things that you could do where it's a little more easy to coherently explain. Like if the art sort of comprises or if the auction mechanic itself is part of the art, and that's some of the stuff that I'm planning on working on in the future. But still, like at least for me, that's sort of allowed me to express myself in a new way, and I think that's really fucking cool, even if it doesn't end up completely changing the world and making us all billionaires.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't mind if I take a stab at it, I think I might be able to express what's so cool about what you're doing.
Go for it.
And I think that you've chosen to work in this medium that is the most fungible, right? Like transparent pixels or blank white pixels, there's nothing more easily replicable than that. And you're turning it into something that is unique and can't be copied in that sense. So you're kind of subverting that expectation.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that's probably, yeah, I think that's a really big aspect to it actually, because it's so easy for anyone to go into Photoshop and make a single transparent pixel. And in fact, I found out after doing it that someone had done it already, which is cool. He sold it for a lot more than I did. So, you know, if I had
So
just
fuck that guy. Sorry.
But I think if you look at the series of works narratively, it's almost what makes each individual piece art. And also, I think it sort of ties into what I was talking about earlier, where the NFT is valuable because of who minted it. And I think the people who are buying my stuff at this point are aware of who I am and what my vibe is, and whether or not someone else can create the exact same thing. You know, none of this is taking extreme technical talent, but it's more about what I'm trying to say with it. And
Was it Visa who gave you tips on branding? I think I saw you in an exchange with somebody, but I don't remember exactly who it was.
Yeah, him and Ronan and one other person. I was planning on releasing that first one with like a whole explainer, and they sort of helped me with that, and then I ended up not really wanting to over-explain it, which I think in the end was a good call. Because you sort of want to give people some sense of what your motivation is, but if you over-explain it, it kind of ruins the point. But if you just post a single transparent pixel and leave it completely up to the audience, then not really clear what you're going for.
You're missing an opportunity to help them find the interesting thing, arguably.
Exactly.
Yeah, like giving them the opportunity to bring something to the art, which
Right.
you need to have that extra scaffolding to do it when your art is so minimalist.
Right, and something that I didn't actually intend, or maybe I sort of did, but viewed from like different stances, it means a completely different thing. So like from someone who's really into the NFT space, for example, it's more of a commentary on like art or like doing something really unique that hasn't been done before for an NFT. Whereas some of the, like the FinTwit guys who like hate blockchain or think NFTs are like crazy for like young, like they're just thinking of like crypto kitties. To them, it's like a satire. It's like a satire NFT, and to them, like I'm satirizing NFTs and the NFT space and like what it means to digitally own something. To someone in the NFT space, also maybe I'm satirizing the quote unquote like the common criticism that all this stuff is like so easily reproducible by making something really reproducible.
I do kind of like that recipe that you have something that the haters and the fans can both enjoy.
Right. I mean, not all the haters, because
Right.
they're still haters, but
Well,
yeah.
Jesus says haters are fans too, so
Right.
let's go with that. All right, so to transition to the thing I was trying to switch to before, my brother is getting into crypto investing in a big way, and he is like texting me things that he's interested in all the time, and I have never really invested in crypto seriously, so he's trying to like convince me that some of these things are worth putting money into. And it's not just cryptocurrency, but he's also interested in investing in like novel businesses that are setting up their own blockchain-based stuff. Long story short, he was talking up this one company that's planning to tokenize gaming, right? Not just like game assets, not just DLC equipment and blah blah blah, but actually tokenizing ownership of digital copies of games themselves. I'm really curious what you think about that, because this is going a step beyond just like authenticating that you own a copy someone made is actually your ability to use a thing, right? And
Right.
we've had
Is that a little bit like a DRM application?
Basically, yeah, but to another degree, because in theory, I think it would also enable you to resell the game digitally, which right now you really can't do. Once you buy a game and activate it on your platform, it's in your account, and they don't let you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what you think about that whole new mode of digital ownership of media outside of passive media and expanding into games and other things that you actually physically interact with, and whether you think there's really any incentive for game developers to release their products in that format beyond just riding the wave.
Right. I think it really depends a lot on what that actually practically looks like, and I don't know that I can infer all of the details, and I'm also far from an expert, and so I think there are definitely applications like that are going to end up being very relevant, but I think that like I don't know if you guys have heard of like Dentacoin, but like they're, especially with these early stage technologies, like it's very easy to look at an unsolved problem and say, okay, well, this thing abstractly looks like it could really solve that. Usually there end up being some very legitimate reasons why it doesn't really work. So I don't really know. And
well, dental records are already a thing, so it totally makes sense to put them on the blockchain, right?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I guess it could be.
You just identify someone by their place on the blockchain in the future. We'll all be tokenized.
Right.
He tokenized your DNA?
See, but do you want to? Because if it's tokenized, unless it's just like the hash of like a blockchain, the whole point is that the information encoded within it is like public and everyone can see it and you can't delete it and it's immutable, right?
Right.
So like I would be very worried about my medical records being tokenized. I'm sure all those companies that have figured out ways to obfuscate it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
with the game thing, I think that could be cool. I don't know if that the incentive is there for the game developers to allow you to resell the game instead of people buying it from them at the face value.
Yeah,
But
the
I guess
argument
also they
that's
could have
always-
royalties.
That's
see
right.
both
The
ways.
royalty stuff's built in now, so they
Right.
might be much more into it, because the argument was always, yeah, you're not getting an actual cut of the sale, but
Right.
if people know they can resell their games, then they'll be more incentivized to buy the game in the first place.
Is
So
there
it
any
should
other
increase-
advantage to the gamer other than the fact that they can resell it? I guess digital. I guess the one that I can think of is like that the company can't take it back. I'm not huge in gaming, but I believe there have been some instances of companies sort of taking down the digital game. Could be wrong about that.
It's extremely rare for a
Okay.
game that has been actually purchased by someone
Right.
to in their account. It has happened a couple times, but
Yeah.
there were like extenuating circumstances.
I mean, in a way, it's like, you know, what did we used to do is go to GameStop and try to sell it, and then they offer you $3 for a game you
Right.
bought like a week ago.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but so you're in a competition system there, because now instead of selling my game to GameStop and then GameStop is selling it, understanding that it's used and it potentially of lower quality,
Mm.
you know, now
Right.
whatever marketplace is reselling it on, you're directly competing with the original seller.
I guess my answer would be, I think to the average person, at least with the gas fees right now, that probably ends up being on average more expensive and like complicated and probably not worthwhile. But for people who are super into crypto, already have crypto, or just enjoy using crypto, plus like maybe the novelty factor, I think that could be really cool. And then once gas fees go down and like the whole UI of the ecosystem is cleaned up and it becomes, you know, and the on ramps are easier, then could be super interesting. Like if you just made the application right now, it would probably be a pain in the ass. 3 to 5 years from now, it could be really, really cool.
Do you think gas fees are likely to go down?
It depends. I'm really not an expert. So the gas fees for Ethereum are based on how much network activity there is. So obviously right now there's a ton, but then there's, you know, L2. Synthbeans can probably talk more about that. Probably knows a lot more about it than I do. So, you know, I'm probably not the best person to answer, so I almost don't really want to opine on it. But, you know, there are also other blockchains with lower fees, so you could probably do it on those. But then you also have the issue that then your on-ramp is a little more complicated.
Yeah, well, I told my brother that I thought gaming in particular was probably not growth industry for starting a new cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think people wanting to resell their games isn't like the most compelling application. It's not nothing. But, you know.
All right. Well, that was pretty much what I had. So
Sweet.
appreciate being able to pick your brain about it.
Thanks for coming by, dude. Imagine we'll have you back.
All right, I'll keep hollering chat.
And if you can figure out how to have my plane not turn left.
All right, so I did post this in the chat, but you may have missed it. There is a button for the trim of your ailerons, which are the control surfaces that affect your roll.
Yes.
And if you hold Control key and press numpad, you're rolling left. You're saying?
Yes. I don't have a numpad.
Oh well. I mean, you could rebind this, or you could just
uninstall Microsoft Flight Simulator.
I mean, you might want to take some time when you're off the air to go in and just play
Figure
around
this
with
out.
the trim settings,
Okay.
because they're going to keep happening, and you'll want to set the aileron trim left and right so that you can modify this.
Right.
But you're probably not going to want to do that right now. So
Okay.
let's deal with it.
Aileron trim. All right, I'll check it out. All right, thanks, dude. All right, let's get let's do another call, and then maybe we can just keep chilling, or do some Twitter questions, and then we can get on the Looney Tunes whenever you want it.
That's good.
Cool. All right, one more caller. We got Wandre in the chat.
Is that how that's pronounced?
It is.
Welcome back, Wandre.
Thank you.
I'm learning to say your name in like I'm trying to find the energy in it that I want to use for it, and I'm getting there.
Yeah. It's a thing that fascinates me because Yeah, I find that when people say it, there is like a natural energy to it that is like not what I would naturally expect necessarily. And then also, yeah, there's some room for deviation, etc.
I feel like I want to
Um,
emphasize
it's a
the first
palette.
syllable a lot, like
yeah,
Andre.
yeah, yeah. Um, Shlomo.
Yo.
For context, my name is Andrew, and how I came to have this name is that I have a very long last name, and in college, um, what would happen is my name would get shortened to Andre, and then my last name because they couldn't fit the whole thing like on the register or whatever. And so my teachers at the first class would always say Andre, and I'd be like, no, they left off the W, it's Andrew. And so I had one teacher, total troll, and I said, oh, they left off the W. So he goes, oh, your name is Wandre.
That's awesome.
It's actually
Yeah.
pretty solid,
Yeah. And so two of my friends were in the class at the time, and then our friend group had another Andrew, and so then I ended up as Wandre because of that. So within my college friend group, I'm known as Wandre.
They actually called you that.
They call me that to this day. That's yeah. Yeah, that's how I'm referred to, and written out as well. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Thanks. So I called in because I have a general curiosity about the crypto world and then the NFT world to some degree that I think you might have some info on. Basically, I'm like curious in a lot of the cases, especially with like early investment for a particular new service or company, or with NFTs, like either a rising type of NFT or like a particular NFT that's valuable within some system, of who's spending the money, like who is the person, what type of person is spending a bunch of money. So
Right.
in your case, it sounds like you have some insight into your little world, or it might not be little. I'm not very familiar with the NFT stuff about that, and so I was curious, like, yeah, what type of person do you think it is, like, or yeah, what's
Sure.
going on?
So I think there's like a couple of different archetypes and like people within like the different little regions of the NFT world. So like there are the people who are buying like NBA Top Shots, right? Like
Right, that's
collectors of
one
like the
of them
card type
familiar
of
with.
NFTs. Yeah, and those people are like looking to flip something. They're pretty speculative. Um, and then with art stuff, I think there's a lot less quick flips. So I think what you have is mostly like on the lower end of the spectrum, people buying their friend's stuff, or like some artist made a bunch of money on one thing and then are buying someone else's, or they're like super bought into the concept of NFTs as ownership, so they're actually collecting some things because they want to own it. Maybe they have a physical display. Then on the other end, like the higher end of the spectrum, there are quote unquote whales, people who made a bunch of money in Ethereum, probably don't want to cash out on Ethereum, and they're just looking to spend it, right? Some of them are probably looking for up and coming artists to invest in with the hope that their future work will become more valuable. Some of them are buying like really established artist stuff. Like if you heard about 𝔽𝕝𝕚𝕚, or like Steve Aoki just sold an NFT for like a shit ton.
yeah.
So really like a lot of different motivations. I think it's less about making money than people think. I think some people are also having fun with it because like it's an exciting space that everyone's talking about, and they just want to like either have fun with it or some sort of status symbol. It really is a big fucking status symbol to spend $1 million on an abstract representation of a infinitely reproducible item.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm always curious, like, what percentage of that person's net worth did they just spend on this thing? And then it's like,
So when someone
it,
buys like this 𝕬𝕚 guy, right? When you buy an NFT, it's pretty easy to see their. It depends on the platform, like how you actually find it, but it's pretty easy
that's
to
a good
find their
point.
public key. So like
That's a good point.
𝕬𝕚 has bid on some of my stuff, so I looked at his wallet. You could probably click on
Ah,
if you click on the link here, we could probably find it pretty easily. And then you see how much they have. A lot of these people, a lot of the big collectors are either getting their money from like the same place, or are actually like part of the same group or are the same person, I think. and you can sort of trace that through the blockchain. But you can see how much a collector has in like their main wallet, because also they'll have like multiple wallets.
Yeah, that's a good
So
process.
Synthbeans dropped Aido's wallet in the chat. So let's see. He has keep in mind this Aido has been buying NFTs left and right, like spending insane amounts of money. It's still loading here, but I would assume he has at least a couple $100,000, if not $1 million worth of Okay, this isn't loading for me. Synthbeans, let us know how much. Oh, Synthbeans says you can stalk my wallet too. Time to move all my crypto before one of you hacks me.
Sorry, I'm just trying to keep this plane up. Let me refresh.
Yeah. You can switch the plane. We can go with something a little less janky.
A little less janky. I'll switch this to the jet in a second, but I am making it that we're almost made it to the bottom. All right, for some reason this is not showing up here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Synthbeans, can you give us the Etherscan link?
Oh, it's lagging for Synthbeans too. It can't load that many coins. Etherscan.io link.
If you just type in aido.eth into Etherscan, it should show up, I think.
Here we go. What's this?
There you go.
Pause.
So they have 100 grand in Ether, and then they have 400 grand in whatever token that is. Wrapped Ether, I think a couple weeks ago was a lot more, but yeah. So like this is one of the whales. I don't think there's an easy way to see how much they've spent on NFTs, but it's a shit ton. And I've spoken to Aido a little bit, and I have some friends who've DM'd him as well. I think it's a guy. Pretty like sweet, cool guy. I think like it doesn't really seem like he's like just trying to make a bunch of money off people. I think this is a good example of like a collector who has just a ridiculous amount of crypto and thinks art is cool and is like trying to support people.
I mean, an art scene needs patrons at a certain point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. You mentioned them not wanting to get out of Ether. Do you mean like they don't have a way to get their money out, or they just?
I guess I mean they probably want to keep most of their money in Ether because they've made so much money, I would assume, and also like if you sell it, then you have to pay taxes on it. I don't know what most of these people who own a ton of Ether are doing about taxes, so maybe they just don't.
Okay.
Synthbeans is explaining it in the chat probably better than I can. Good old Synthbeans.
It's deflationary. I mean, just a lot of the people who own so much of it and got rich on it still expect it to grow, so they don't want to get rid of it.
Or they, they really, I think some of these people end up thinking more in terms of ETH, especially if they really believe in it and not really in terms of dollars. Like that's their financial system,
I mean,
they convert stuff to buy things that you can't buy through crypto, but I mean, that's their like main rails, if that makes sense.
Word. I would assume though that they probably have some amount of like also real world, or I guess ETH is real world, but they have like normal fiat currency as well, right? Like,
yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, that was a great answer. That gave me a bunch of stuff to think about and work on.
For sure. It's funny because I was pretty into crypto in like 2017 to early 2018 when it was like the whole bull run, and then I sold everything and stopped really thinking about crypto for a couple of years. So I haven't really been much interested in crypto until this whole art thing started happening. I probably would have given better answers for everything 3 years ago.
You're plunged back in.
Are you
cool.
into crypto?
Sort of accidentally. I worked for a crypto startup, and I have some, like, share whatever from that.
Cool.
But personally, I haven't invested any. And then I followed along with crypto to some degree.
You work for a cryptocurrency startup, but you don't invest in crypto at all?
Yeah. That's yeah. I also I don't think I would have really followed it that much if I hadn't been working at
Right.
it. So, no, it was definitely a little bit strange. I was also doing like recruiting and stuff, so it's funny to like, be talking to lots of people who are very excited about crypto. Or personally, I'm like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fine.
But you also have a connection, Wanderer, with art stuff. So I've seen you experimenting with art, and at some point you'll bust that out in front of the Twitter universe, and I will retweet it.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Though, I'm. Yeah, I think if I'd spent a little, well, okay, if the pandemic hadn't happened and I tried to do art in person and then talked with like galleries and people that either buy expensive art or invest in art or whatever, I think if I'd gone that route or I'd had that route available, then yeah, I'd have a lot to think about in comparison, because I think there is a lot of like, yeah, interesting comparing and contrasting you can do with like the normal art world, and like, right, you noted that there's like patrons, like
Right.
patron profiles and stuff like that. And yeah, I think there's like probably a lot of interesting overlap. Unfortunately, at this moment, I just don't have really any models of that stuff because I didn't get to go into it.
Right.
Maybe someday, perhaps.
Word. Sorry, I was just figuring out how to re-gas this plane because we're just kind of curving back and forth, and we're getting towards South Korea, like the fucking actual South. Maybe we're already in South Korea, but I can't remember how I keybound the gas. Anyway, don't mind me.
Just over the DMZ.
We haven't been nuked yet.
Yeah, no, we just cruised right over. I said ℙ𝕨𝕚𝕚𝕝 is on board. Let us pass. They said, oh, there's my gas. Good. All right.
Well, thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed the stream so far.
Yeah, totally, man. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks, Andre.
Good to hear from you.
Thank you. Take care.
I want Flight Simulator, but like on like Mars, like in space.
All right, hold on. I can help you out with that real quick. You ready?
Does that exist?
Well, no. But if I enter, wait for it. I forgot how to even do this. If I enter developer camera, no, not that. Slew mode. All right, just give me a second. And we're gonna go north. I'll give you the best we have re space, and also we can kind of screw with the time of day, and that's also very fun when you're up in the cosmos.
My automatic impulse is like I want to get this game and just completely mess with the settings until I just completely break it.
Yeah.
Like when I used to play, like there was this NASCAR game and I would go backwards and turn it into like a demolition derby. Or like I would play Madden and I would like just completely jack up my team, or like make one player, make the whole team terrible, or make like one player like just completely max out the stats.
Right. Right.
And just like win by like the max amount you could win. I think it was like 255 points. Complete chaos. Yeah.
First game I did that with was this game called 𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚 The Logical Journey. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No, but that's an absurd name, and I love it. I'm googling it right now. How
Yeah.
do you spell 𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚?
Like it sounds.
Zoom.
BINIS, I think.
Oh, there's also 𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚 Make Me a Pizza.
I've never played that one.
Sounds a little misogynistic, if you ask me.
Make me a pizza, 𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚. But anyway, this game,
Yeah.
you got this crew of
Oh wait,
𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚.
I think I played this as a kid.
Hold on, since we're talking about this, I just
I feel like you just unlocked like some nostalgia for something I almost don't even remember. Because, anyways, yeah, what were you saying?
well, so the way this game works, yeah, dude, here we go. 𝕬𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚, open image.
You ever played Putt Putt?
Just a game called Putt Putt.
Maybe that's not what it was called. It's weird because there's a lot of nostalgia that I have for like these random computer games that I barely
Right.
remember. Yeah, Putt Putt is like a computer game with like a little car. I think the one I had, he was in space.
Right. So just really quick.
And
No.
Sorry.
I was just Freddy. Someone mentioned Freddy Fish. Yeah, I fucking played that. You see these little characters. They got all different stuff. They got noses, glasses, whatever.
Right.
Basically, the whole thing is they try to make you guess a code. They're trying to make you guess what is the recipe that will let your guys pass based on their noses and eyeglasses and whatever. And if you fuck up, you lose guys along the way. And you're trying to get as many guys through as possible. So I had the insight at 8 years old or whatever. I can just make them all identical. And so then basically they have to let some through. So then I just would walk through the game and beat it immediately. Yeah, that was my experience.
That was the real lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you beat some beans. Okay, no, we just flew up in the air. And now, really quick, I'll just show you the weather shit is cool up here. Because you can make the moon move.
What happens when you crash? Or like if you fly upside down, will it stall out realistically and stuff? Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, you can actually like see some night, some kind of Milky Way shit going on. Though I don't know if it's probably the gamma's not high enough for that to appear on screen. But now all I need to do is turn off slew mode. So I have turned off. Yeah, and we're like so like right now I'm not getting any lift because there's like no atmosphere out here, and apparently they actually like simulate that.
They must.
Like I'm fucking like just falling,
So
you know.
they must simulate like weather patterns too, which is kind of insane.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah, they got clouds. They got rain, they got snow. It like
But like I assume it's localized to the area, right? Or is it not?
well, they probably aren't simulating the whole world at the same time, but it's pretty immersive.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean that it's like accurate. Like if you're flying over like Vostok, I assume it's not.
Yeah. And they have local weather and live weather you can do.
That's really cool. This is like very technologically advanced.
Yeah. It's impressive.
Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we're like so jaded. Like some of this stuff starts to seem like, like sort of expected at some point. But it's just if you take a step back, sometimes it's like just kind of fucking crazy that we're watching a realistic simulation of a plane that you're like spiraling, and like it's interacting with the environment exactly like a plane would.
Right.
And there's like a 3D model of the Earth underneath it.
Yeah. We might have trouble pulling up out of this, but I'm gonna try. But yeah, I turned off crashes. I think we'd already be fucked by now if I hadn't.
Yeah, I can't really tell what your skill level is. I don't really have the concept for how difficult this is.
Just yeah.
It's not very graceful, but
I'm kind of like the Han Solo of Flight Simulator.
Yeah. I
get it done. There we go. Nice. So yeah, dude, I think that's the highest number of callers we've had on any show so far. So we're making history here.
How many was that?
I think it was 4.
Cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever done one where it's just you talking, or is it always guests?
I've just played games. I occasionally just do a gaming stream, like I'm gonna play some game, but and I some people show up and it's fun. Did one where we just watched a movie. I mentioned to you we watched Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. And that was fun. We had like 15 people chilling. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
Who's the drunkest guest you've had?
I'm not gonna name names. But anyone who's watched all the episodes knows the answer to that.
Probably knows. Right?
Yeah, they know. No, but I've had a good time with all of them. We did have one very challenging episode. Colin O'Zion came on. My lights went out 3 times, and that was challenging, but we got through it. So
not the TikTok LEDs.
No. Like my house, like the breakers,
Oh, wow.
like
yeah. I feel like I have to drop a lot more knowledge because you said, "Oh wait, I can't say who the next guest is," right?
No, you can't.
Oh,
no, you
shit,
can't.
I almost just did.
Though
Wow, I caught myself.
If you did, it would have been hype, and I would have forgiven you. But no, I'll release it. No, there will be a notable guest next week. I'm looking forward to it.
Sorry,
No, it's good.
Yeah, I came very close to not catching that. All right.
Close doesn't count. We're good.
Sorry, everyone.
Should we watch some Looney Tunes, or hit some Twitter questions? You did get some hard Twitter questions.
Yeah, I feel like they're hard enough that I almost yeah, really want to try them because I looked at them, but I didn't think of what I would actually answer. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll
Let's
see
take a
if I
look.
can come up with anything coherent.
Joe Rogan. Yeah, I'm gonna have Joe Rogan on next week. Dude, I want Joe Rogan to have me on Philosophers on Twitch playing Flight Sim. That's what I want. He can come and he'll be the host.
Has he ever done that where he's the guest on the show and someone interviews him?
I'm sure he's been interviewed, but maybe not on his own show. I'm not sure.
Right. My girlfriend just texted me, "Who's the future guest?"
Well, you can
The world wants to know.
you can play that how you want to. You have the Twitter questions on hand, or should I grab the link?
No, I don't.
I got
Oh,
you.
am I supposed to run through them or do you?
Yeah. No,
Oh, okay.
you can read.
Okay. Yeah.
I got to fly to Korea.
Right. Yeah. You're occupied. I'll give you a little break.
Yeah.
All right. You tweet a decent amount, so I gotta find where.
I think it's
Oh,
the
also, Hawaiiage, by the way, is like a very big soup spice. The two main things you put it in are soup and coffee. But the
it's
coffee
hard.
version has cinnamon, just a little like sweeter and less curry-like.
What kind of soup? Like a pumpkin soup? I don't know why that's what my brain
Like
said.
more of like a curry type of soup.
Like
I
a
feel
curry.
It would be good in a pumpkin. Yeah, like a very Middle Eastern-y soup.
Right.
Anyways, okay. Questions. How many pixels is too many pixels? We've covered that already. I think someone. Oh yeah, he asked that.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of art for you specifically? We sort of covered that, and also yeah, I mean, I think there are different purposes depending on the type of art and like the motivation behind it. And I feel like it's one of those things that people usually intuitively understand, but it's like pretty hard to come up with something that's coherent and like overarching within a sentence or two.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Feel free to just go next.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's such a good question that I feel, for me specifically, like the purpose of my art is pretty clear, I think, and it's to make people think, and maybe here and there to like make a point about the main themes are like value and value, ownership, and art. At least the stuff that I've made so far. There are other things I want to say. Do you feel like there should be a more general purpose to art than what you feel it has for you specifically? For me specific, no, not really. I think that I think the purpose for art on the creator's end is to express something that they can express through art, and and people can choose whether or not to appreciate it. And the purpose on like the appreciator's end is to appreciate it. If that doesn't make any sense, but that's the best I got. How do you think about turning attention into value? I think that you should focus on the attention thing, and the value will come eventually. And maybe you get a lot more value if you get a bunch, you get a bunch of attention and try to monetize it early on, but you probably won't feel as good about it. And I think people can sort of tell when you're being sincere about it.
So you're saying attention first or value first?
I think attention first.
Okay, so
probably.
get people's interest and then make it.
Yeah.
Make
also,
it good.
just on the topic of attention, like I think people conflate like getting a bunch of followers to attention, whereas you can look at like accounts with, let's say, just talking about Twitter, 100,000 followers getting really little engagement, right?
When I see that, I always wonder if they bought their followers. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but also I think, right, there's that, but also there are accounts that like probably didn't buy their followers, but maybe have a higher proportion of bot followers,
Right.
just because like they're a corporation or whatever, or they just don't post very interesting shit. I mean, I think a lot of people using Twitter don't do like the like, I don't know what the term is, but like they don't do see latest tweets. They do like the algorithmic timeline. But then there are people with a couple thousand followers, or even smaller, who maybe they're in-group famous. Like I think there are definitely people who are in-group famous who have a really small amount of followers but a lot of influence, or there are people who get massive engagement. My follower count has like, it's been going up, but like the amount of engagement I'm getting now is like really the big difference, I think.
It's dense.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And like there's momentum to engagement too. And when you get engagement, it sort of snowballs, because the more people who engage, the more people who see that engagement and then begin to engage more.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, so that's how I think about it. I guess the other way is like provide value and then you get attention. Sure, like people who are like writing essays and making a Substack or whatever to get attention. I guess that's a valid way too. So maybe I rescind my answer, but this is just my philosophy.
Totally.
Tell us about social media and why it's cool, weird, wonky / great. I almost exclusively use social media through a pseudonym. And I almost exclusively use social media to talk to strangers or like internet friends. So I deleted Facebook in, I want to say 9th grade. I still have like an alt that I made a couple of years later so I could like look at stuff. And like at the time, like people don't really use Facebook now, but like when I was in high school,
It was
like that's
huge.
when you got invited to parties, right? Like it was considered, like I would tell that to people and they'd look at me like I was a fucking alien because I didn't have a Facebook account. And then I didn't have an Instagram account. I later made one. I've never posted anything except like a story here and there, and it's on private. So like I have a LinkedIn. Please don't try to find me, but yeah. So like the way that I interface with social media is almost exclusively through a pseudonym, and before Twitter I was using like Reddit a lot. So yeah, really like I'm more interested in finding people who are either similar to me or like interested in the same things as me, and I really don't want to like know what my old neighbor is up to.
Right.
You know? And I don't
For
want
sure.
them to know what I'm up to either. And that's a very personal way to interface with the internet. How does physical life inform the digital and vice versa? I think especially in the past year, the lines are like super blurred. Like I've lived on the internet more than I ever have before. I spent so much time on the internet, and you sort of start to engage with the internet as if it's a physical space. If that makes any sense. Like I think I have like a spatial awareness of being on Twitter or like the different websites that I'm on, right?
Right.
And like the same way I have like a tangible like a synesthetic experience of like a room and like the ambiance. I think websites have ambiances, right? And like dimension to how they're designed. Like I have I don't know if it's just me, but or if like most people do and don't notice it, or if they do notice it and it's not that profound. But like when I'm on a website, there's some level of like a tangible experience, even though what's physically happening is I'm typing away at my keyboard and I'm looking at a bunch of pixels, which by the way was also sort of the motivation for that first pixel piece, even though it ended up being about a different thing. I was ruminating on like the fact that what I'm really looking at all day is just a bunch of pixels. Like the physical reality of what I did pretty much the entire day was I was staring at a rectangle of a bunch of tiny
Little
little
rectangles.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of absurd if you think about it. But my experience has been that I've talked to a bunch of people. I did my job. I sent a bunch of emails. I tweeted a bunch of things. But what's really happening is I'm looking at a bunch of tiny little rectangles displaying different colors, and tapped a bunch of little rectangles that somewhere in the architecture of my computer like mapped to specific letters. It's kind of fucking crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, you know?
Yeah.
But you just don't, because that's, we're digitally native people, and we've just
I try not
that
to.
This is what it means. Right. You're not cognizant of the fact that you're staring at pixels for 99.9% of the time that you are actually staring at them.
pixels.
You're right now I'm watching a plane, but really doesn't exist.
Right. Speaking of which,
kind of scary.
South Korea does look different from North Korea. I think we can confirm
I think so.
from our direct exploration of it. Yeah.
I think North Korea is definitely more glorious. I'm going to skip the next one just because I feel like I probably could think of an interesting answer if I wasn't on the spot, but
Sure. Yeah, grab one or two. We also have one more person
Yes.
waiting to do a quick call because it's why not,
Yes.
and then we'll watch some fucking cartoons.
Sure. Favorite Unicode block? I really like the hieroglyphic one. It has a couple penises in there and just like a lot of cool stuff. I like Cuneiform because it's very pretty chaotic, and my Twitter name is like a bunch of or what it was until today, but the bio still is a bunch of 8s in Cuneiform. But now the new favorite one is it's not a Unicode block, it's a Unicode class. I think it's enclosing spaces, enclosing marks, which is what enables those weird glitchy hashtags that you guys might have seen, which I made a bunch of. I can make you a custom Philosophers playing Flight Simulator. Glitchy hashtag, by the way.
Oh my god. Do whatever that is. Totally. Can it have planes in it or something?
Probably. I'll think about it.
I don't know if that works. Hold on. Let me.
Yeah.
I'll just go to your Twitter.
Sure. Is there a historical example that best captures the essence of what you're trying to do? Yeah, I would say it's Dadaism. So someone mentioned Duchamp and like his urinal in the chat. I think at least with like the main stuff that I've made, I'm making art that on its face isn't art, or at least traditionally wouldn't be viewed as art, and you know, it's kind of a surface level sophomoric observation that's been done a lot of times, which is why I try to have, you know, more meaning stacked on top of it. But it maps to that. So
Yeah, Dadaism is it's the 20s?
I think so.
Or like even earlier?
I'm not sure exactly.
We got Wandre and W. Thanks for coming by, guys.
Hi, guys.
Watch some. I recommend watching some Looney Tunes, just to if you want to. 20s post World War One. Yeah, thanks,
There's
y'all.
probably some like interesting historical analysis of why it bubbled up then.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know why.
yeah.
And I think it's really cool because it sort of is, you know, demonstrates that while there's some things that are like obviously art, there's some things that aren't obviously art, and sort of I don't really know how to define art. You know?
Can I tell you a story?
Yes, please.
So, a friend of mine went to Art Institute of Chicago, was in a performance art class, and tells us that they all, and I think this is true, like I don't think my friend lied, but like, you know, whatever, you're hearing it from me third hand or whatever, but anyway, there's a reception for this performance art thing, and all the parents come, all the friends come, and in the middle of the reception, someone reveals that a bird, like a dead bird, had been baked into the cake that everybody was eating, and they cut it open and they find this fucking dead bird. My friend was telling the story to make a certain point about like performance art as like a genre within like art academia, and like what the fuck is that. It's sort of like the quintessential shock value, and even that, I'm not sure that I can say it is without. I don't think that I can say it's without artistic merit, because I think it's trippy. You know what I mean? It sort of bends space time for a second, like social space time. But it's also like not fucking Michelangelo, so that's one of those. You know,
I think with Dadaism, it's a little easier for me personally.
Yeah.
To see it being art, and then with performance art, there's like such, out of any genre, probably like such a wide range of quality, or it's hard to define quality, but like there's like some stuff that's just like, all right, I just broke a social norm and did something disgusting, that's art now.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff that's like actually really interesting and thought provoking.
Right.
But I guess to some people the former is more interesting than the latter. So I don't really know as much as I should about performance art.
I think like personally having like a good guide to all that would be awesome. Like someone who's like, I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to explain a good theory of why this is actually bad modern art and this is actually interesting modern post whateverist art.
I wonder if it's possible. Like, is it? I guess you could probably like come up with some sort of academic or analysis, but some of it's so subjective and like,
I think
based on your past experiences and your interest in like all this stuff that's like subliminally deciding what you enjoy.
I think even if it was someone presenting a subjective view, I would be interested in understand someone's subjective view if it was a built out thing, you know.
For sure. Can I rant about the Mona Lisa for 30 seconds?
Yeah, rant about the Mona Lisa, then we'll grab Giga Rahul in the chat. Yeah.
Oh, Giga Rahul. I know Giga Rahul. So I just realized today that I hate the Mona Lisa. Like, if you look at it long enough, it's really not... I'm sure it's a technically impressive painting, and it's kind of a cool painting if you look at it, but it's clearly, if you look at it, not the most beautiful piece of art ever created by a human. Like, it really just isn't if you really look at it. Plus, it's very old. It's very decrepit. Like, if you look at a high-quality scan, which could make it cool. Like, I like guitars. I like beat-up guitars. it makes it cooler to me. But the fact is, if you look at it, and if you came from another society and you'd never heard of the Mona Lisa, or you came from another planet, and I gave you 10 paintings, I guarantee you would not look at that one and say, all right, I really like this one. If you look at her face, anatomically, it doesn't actually 100% look like a human face. Like, it's a little bit off. I tweeted today, there's another copy that some people say was Da Vinci and some people say was a student. It, to me, it's a little more detailed and more visually interesting. It might just be because it has like the colors. Yeah, now look up the, I'll just send the tweet. I'll send the tweet right here. And this other one's like sitting in a basement in a museum, and no one really cares about it. It's almost the same painting. The face to me looks a little more realistic and like aesthetically pleasing. There's like more details. If you look closely at the image that I linked, it's not like the highest quality because Twitter compressed it, but like there's like really cool detail in the hair and the dress. Might just be because the original age. But anyways, my point is like, and I tweeted something later about a quote about how I should read it. It's long, but basically, like, people assume that because this thing is famous means that it has merit, and while it can have merit, there's also just like some sort of like butterfly effect analogous reason why something's become huge. Like, for example, the Mona Lisa became a matter of public fascination because it got stolen and then like Napoleon hung it. There's an alternate universe where none of that happened and no one gives a shit about the Mona Lisa, even if Da Vinci's like a really famous artist, or you know what I mean. But like the fact that this is like the pinnacle of art is just mind-boggling.
Wait, so what is the second one?
Value.
What is the second one?
The second one is either a practice version from him or like a student drew it at the same time. There's a lot of like people love to speculate about this stuff. Like, some people speculate that Da Vinci was actually drawing himself in drag, or that he was drawing his trans lover. Some people say that trans lover drew or painted the other version. Like, there's people love to, read stuff into this. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I just look at these two paintings and it's just hard for me to fathom how one of them people estimate huge. Would go for a minimum of $50 billion.
Right.
Like,
I kind of like the one on the right now that
Me too.
And
the original probably had the same color, so it really comes down more to like the details and the posture.
Right.
But still, it sort of just goes to show, I think. You know what I mean? I think it's a great painting. It's interesting to look at. I've looked at it a lot today.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen things that I'd rather look at if you force me to look at one or the other.
Yeah, it's sort of like as a matter of like social calibration. Like, for a lot of these things, it seems like the direction is sort of correct, but then the exact quantity, who the hell knows?
But I think there are some people who would defend, like, to the death,
like,
the
this
idea
is the
that
best.
This is the greatest, aesthetically, the greatest work of art. And I propose that the reason they're saying that is because they've been, conditioned to believe that this is the world's greatest work of art, and that if all else was equal, or if they were raised in like a locked cell and like they were taught about aesthetics but never taught that this specific painting was the world's greatest painting, I don't think that they would come to that conclusion on their own. I don't think that the conception of like what is and isn't good art is at least fully a meritocracy.
No, I totally buy that.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you on that.
So
one.
anyways, I take it back. I don't hate the Mona Lisa. I hate the fact that
people love it.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, it's really small and like underwhelming.
Yeah.
In real life.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one thing people say. You see the Mona Lisa, it's like 8 inches diagonal, something tiny or whatever. All right, let's get Rahul in, and then it's Looney Tunes time.
Yep.
Hey, Rahul. Giga Rahul, that is.
Hey.
Welcome.
What's up?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear? Yeah, you'll have a better time listening to us through Discord rather than through Twitch.
All right, sweet.
Because of delays.
All right.
Welcome,
Can
man.
you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, nice to meet you guys.
What's up? Yeah, I think we've met on Twitter before, right? And you're part of Gen Z Mafia too.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, and I've seen you around there, so
sure.
Really cool. You said you were going to be on Bloomberg. I've been on the stream for a while, and dude, that's huge, dude.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I might not be on. It was
well, someone speculated. Someone speculated that you would be. So unconfirmed. We had audience speculation. We have not gotten to official.
I missed that part, but yeah, basically they.
Yeah, you were getting a drink.
On one of their they had asked me to be on like one of their podcasts, and it was like, you can Joe Wiesenthal or Weisenthal, some like big Twitter guy who I've interacted with, who likes my art, and he's like the example of like the FinTwit guy who thinks it's a satire. But anyways,
Right.
yeah, we were DMing, and his podcast is pretty big, but then they wanted me to dox myself. So it may still happen. I'm not sure.
Yeah. That's like part of your whole
Anyway.
brand, though. I wouldn't understand. Like, I guess that's
Yeah.
part of your identity. I feel.
Well, they weren't gonna dox it in the content, right? They just wanted to like
To know who you were.
to know. Like,
Oh.
you know, I don't want it written down in Bloomberg offices. Somewhere. It just feels like a compromise, and I don't really feel like compromising. So.
Man, is there no way to do that? There's got to be a way to do that. Like, if you were gonna like tip off that like
Right.
some
Well, if I
fucked
was
up shit.
Banksy, I think it's because I'm like not that big of a deal. Like if I was Banksy and they were like really dying to have me on, then maybe. But like I'm sure whatever editor that this guy pitched this to was like, well, we just need to make sure he's not a criminal. And
Right.
If I was a bigger deal, they wouldn't have cared. So
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll learn in
Or
time.
maybe, or maybe for all I know, he just really wants to know and is just saying that his editor.
He just wants to tweet it.
I don't know. Anyways,
Maybe.
I considered it actually, but I just don't feel super comfortable. Like my OPSEC is pretty bad at this point, and everyone already knows my first name, which narrows it down. And for a lot of different reasons, I really don't want to be doxxed.
Yeah, I get that. That's totally reasonable. That's totally
Yeah.
reasonable. I actually wanted to ask, like, along the lines of, like, you know, getting this press and sort of like this idea of the very first, like, celebrities that are born out of, like, the NFT scene. Like, you know, who's going to be, like, the first, like, Picasso or the
Right.
first, Duchamp, you know? Like, I think we already found our first Duchamp, but, like, you know, like, I think NFTs are going to be, like, a 20-plus year development, and like I believe in like the whole Web 3.0 like blockchain-based internet. Like everybody's going to be on some form of decentralized platform in the next like I'm not saying like 5 years. So I think this is going to be a long-term thing, which means like we are really just coming in at like the cutting edge like of what's going to be the future. So like there's a lot of runway for people really to make their names off of this sort of space.
Right. I don't know that I. Wait, sorry, I think I interrupted you.
Yeah. I mean, I was just gonna sort of continue along the lines. Like, I think we're just going to see more of the, you know, whatever developments have happened in the pre-blockchain based internet era of,
Right.
you know, just like human history. Like, we're gonna see parallels in blockchain now. Like, I think that's gonna happen. So I just wanted to get your take on that. Like,
Sure.
do you believe in it, or like? What are your takes?
Okay, so the first part of your question, like the big artists or whatever, I've tweeted that I'd prefer to be notorious than famous, and I'm definitely not famous now. In some Twitter circles, I guess I'm notorious, like in a relatively good way. So, yeah, I don't know if that I could handle fame or that I would want to. I think first of all, I'd definitely get doxxed. I don't want that. I don't really want this to spill over into my real life. And yeah, I don't think it's really something that I want. I want there to be, you know, some subset of people who get what I'm doing and understand it, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to communicate something about myself and express myself in a space where there are people who are more likely to get it. But I think there will probably be other people who take much more advantage of this than I do, or become a lot more famous. I've done like a decent job of marketing myself so far and gotten more attention than I expected to. But and I'd be happy if my artwork got a lot more attention and sold for more. I'd be ecstatic. But I don't want to be like famous, for sure. And then the second part of your question, I think I started this thing out just sort of as like a means to shitpost, and now I'm starting to believe in it a little more. I think if NFTs just if structurally it stays the same way with like IPFS hashes and stuff, like I think there are some issues that need to be addressed. But like long term, yeah, I think it would be silly to underestimate them. To me, most of the value is like in art, but I'm sure there are other applications that will prove to be super useful. Just personally, I'm most interested in like self-expression and less in like commercial stuff, even though those might end up being much bigger and more useful. Personally, I care about the aesthetics. But what I would expect, like I have no idea what's going to happen, but if I had to guess, probably at some point the Ethereum and Bitcoin crash, because they always do eventually. Then they go back up, at least historically. Maybe the trend changes eventually, but probably, hit a certain point and crash. And then, NFT buying probably slows down, and then everyone says that the NFT craze is dead, just like they said when crypto crashed the last time and people stopped buying crypto kitties. And then, maybe it's a year or three, and then it starts going back up, and then people buy and sell even more NFTs, and there's probably some new angle to it that's, trendy, and then all of a sudden it's a bubble again. I think we've seen the cycle long enough to know how it's probably going to continue to play out.
Mm.
And eventually, eventually you hit a critical mass of like people in society who believe in this form of digital ownership or whatever new forms spring up, and then it just is ownership regardless of whether some subset of people on Twitter think that it shouldn't be.
I think that's what we're all waiting for,
Right.
that critical mass. And it's inevitable. Like, I think it's inevitable, but of course that's still an opinion to have, and other people are also open to have their
Right.
opinions. And no one can really 100% claim, but I think the trend shows that, like, if you back technology, then that's like backing just inevitability, something that's like just bound to happen. It's just the trend
Right.
of human history, and that's personally my take. And yeah, I think so I'm currently working on a project in the NFT space where we want to like make NFTs for social good. And so far, like, we've seen NFTs, and that's generally been like wonderful for digital artwork, digital artists on who generally like haven't been able to access this pool of people who now want to like invest in NFTs.
Mhm.
So
What does that practically look like?
So we partner with various organizations. Currently, we're partnered with an arts nonprofit based in Camden, New Jersey, and we're working with them to get digital artwork. And right now, actually just recently got an invite to Zora. This is all like really new stuff, but we'll be minting out like various pieces. There's this one really nice artwork that I'm hoping we can get like permission from the artist to use. It's like a series of pictures of like police brutality, but they're all like very pink and like it's very to the style of the artist. So it's like it's an artistic depiction of police brutality, if you will. But I think it ties in very nicely with like the narrative of the organization. Did I explain what the organization did, or? I don't think I did.
But I'm looking at it, but
yeah, they're called 𝔽𝕝𝕚𝕚𝕝, by the way. They are an arts nonprofit that connects Black youth to their African heritage. So just recently, like, they were doing a ton of work around Black Lives Matter, and yeah, they're just a wonderful group of people. And yeah, so we're launching like a set of NFTs around their mission, and yeah,
are
so
you
far
just
it's been
gonna
great.
convert it to USD and like donate it, or are you like partnered with them and they know?
Oh no, we're partnered with them like
Okay,
directly.
cool.
Yeah, so the process behind that is like, so we will like get the proceeds, but then we'll also like convert the Ether to USD, then give it to them. And then like since
Do they
NFTs also
do they specifically not want the crypto because like it could theoretically appreciate?
It could. It's something that we've discussed, but I think like nonprofits are just generally strapped for cash. But if it's something that and I've talked to them about like crypto.
Well, if
and
you
stuff.
convert it to cash, then you might have to. You should check into like the tax implications, not to make this too boring.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you had income and possibly some capital gains or whatever, and then you're making a donation. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Talk about that separately.
Sure.
Oh, Michael, you've landed. I didn't even know.
I have landed in the south of Korea, like literally the southern tip. So now might be a good time to shift over to our next thing.
Sure.
But Rahul, I hope we gave you some thoughts that were useful to you.
Yeah, totally. This has been amazing.
Awesome.
Sure. And hit my DMs and we can chat about it too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Sweet.
All right.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming by. Oh, I think I cut him off. Oops. Oh, wait. Now I'm going backwards.
What does Orkney mean?
Oh, I used to be Orkney on Discord, and then I was
Okay.
in some Discords, and I switched my name, but I wanted them to know that I was still the same person as before. So my name on Discord is now 𝕚𝕚𝕚𝕚, who was Orkney.
But my question is still what what it means.
Is this some shit I thought of?
Okay.
That was just some shit I thought of. Oh, here we go. So do you want to watch some freaking Looney Tunes, dude?
Yes, sir. Look at her hair on the right. Like there's like if you zoom in, there's like a really cool detail and like detail in the dress. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm ranting again, but
No, I mean,
and she has eyebrows too. That's a big one.
right.
Anyway,
So I'm screwing with my machine here so we can get set up.
yeah.
Excellent.
Button came back,
Yeah, let's see again.
but then the number next to your name became 15 instead of 14.
I don't know what even the number means. Are we
The
back?
number of like streams, I think.
Okay, this looks like we're back. Moving my hands around.
Oh, I see you now.
I'm in.
I had to,
Okay.
I had to open another tab, so I guess just tell everyone to open a new tab.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
That was weird, dude. We didn't lose too many people either. Yeah, they should be able to hear. Can you guys hear him? I think they should be able to hear you just fine.
Cool.
All right, I don't know what just happened. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen, and we're going to boot up some Looney Tunes.
Yep.
So just for context here, by the way, we have a few options we can choose from. And
Okay.
for all I know, there very well could be some really fucked up shit in these Looney Tunes cartoons.
That's ideal.
Okay, so we don't know what we're working with here because I don't know what we're working with. I've not filtered these. It could be super fucked up racist shit. It was the 30s and 40s, you know.
Well, yeah.
So
Choose one with like a really weird name.
all right.
The booze hangs high.
Lithro said Porky's Railroad. He said the booze hangs high. Well, we got. Where's the booze? Let's watch the booze hangs high. Then maybe we'll get to Porky's Railroad. Now, hold on. We got to do the thing where I was going to stream to you
Right.
the thing. So let me fix this up, and I can share my screen.
Sort of looks like, what is it, Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah, it does kind of have that vibe. Turn up the.
Right.
All right.
Click watch stream.
Porky's Pooch. Yeah.
Okay.
Chat, we're going to need your help in getting the audio level right. But I'm going to hit play right now, and we're going to probably... Oh, we got a fucking ad.
Whatever
I
the
hear
day
you and
brings,
the stream
Grammarly
pretty
helps
low,
you
but, I mean, I
communicate.
think it's fine.
Yeah, it might just do that for you.
Yeah. Oh, I can change the stream volume on my end.
Okay.
Oh. Nice.
So what are we watching? The booze hangs high. And also, we can talk during this, I think, because...
Yeah.
Like, that udder is gross.
Yeah. Definitely started off interesting. Music's a little klezmer.
Yeah. In a lot of these old ones, they just literally had a band. And the band would learn all the marks, you know.
Right. Pretty impressive, actually.
So far,
Yeah.
the main plot element is this weird, saggy... What is this called?
Booze hangs high.
Booze hangs
It's pretty like choreographed. You know, like it's the motion is like linked to the music. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I wonder what they did first, right? Like, did they animate it and then
Right.
time everything?
They might have written a piece for it. Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I know a little bit about this from this Disney biography I've been reading.
That's cool.
Um,
Also, like, how early into Disney's career is this?
So this is Looney Tunes is WB,
Okay.
but
Not Disney.
yeah, not Disney. So, but 30s 40s is pretty early because he did a lot of World War II propaganda, basically, in training films, and he was still doing shit in the 60s.
Right. How do you feel about this Dr. Seuss stuff? Speaking of racist cartoons.
I think it's stupid. I think Dr. Seuss is fine.
Yeah, probably.
I think if people don't want their kids to read it, that's reasonable. It's just we can't delete the past. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. What just happened? Wait, oh, it is like changing his diaper?
Right.
This does look like Steamboat Willie. Oh, Lithra says this one was directed by a guy who also did early Disney work. Was it iWorks by any chance? I don't know. I do kind of like the music, but I feel like the plot is slow. Hugh Harman, Rudolph Ising. Oh, that's fucking gross.
Looks like cholent.
The what?
You guys have cholent? Or is that a... It's a very Jewish food.
Oh, no. What is that?
It's like a bean stew.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty good, but it's like... it's like poison for your gastrointestinal system.
Alright, this dude's about to put this other dude... Oh, I see. He used his tail to get the... Is that booze? This was called booze...
I think, yeah.
Booze 'em high. Oh shit! All right, we got the little
For kids?
the little kid pigs drinking the booze.
I'm trying to understand what the target market was for the demographic for this cartoon.
Uh-oh. Oh no, he just wants more.
Was this before Prohibition?
When's Prohibition? I think it's after. I deepened his voice.
This part's kind of catchy.
I'm into it. This is 1930. Prohibition ended in 33, so this is during.
I feel like you could sample this and make like a really hard beat.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I chose not to. But you're totally... Yeah, I agree. This is during Prohibition.
I'm glad to learn that my joke your standards.
You're the artist.
This seems maybe borderline racist. I can't tell.
It's a little iffy.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a monkey.
I'll let it slide.
He burped out of corn.
I'm expecting there to be more of a story.
Uh-huh. I just feel like random shit's happening.
Yeah.
We can watch some later ones, because there's a couple on this list that are like the 60s or something.
Right. There's this show, like Adult Swim show I used to watch called Trip Tank that like was like a really bad acid trip, and this almost reminds me of that, just less dark.
Yeah.
You know? And I wouldn't have really guessed that a cartoon from like... I sort of thought these were more narrative driven. Pretty interesting, actually.
That's all, folks. I like that we have the OG, that's all, folks. All right, that was okay.
Yeah.
Chat.
I think it was interesting because like it's not really... People don't really make cartoons like that now. Like I'm not really sure what I just watched.
Right.
Which makes it pretty cool.
Chat, we got to rate that one out of 10. I want to give that one a 4.
Yeah.
I feel like no plot, 4 is my senses, Luthros. All right, so that was just...
Maybe let's watch one with like a more recognizable character.
Yeah, these are...
Surf said it's Noah Kira.
It's Noah Kira. 4, yeah, we agree. There's Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, the wabbit who came to supper, the wacky wabbit.
I like that too.
One of these. They weren't true enough to the manga. All right, the wabbit who came to supper. Fifth column mouse. What is that? Is that going to be some like World War II thing? Let's try the wabbit who came to supper. See, this is.
Yeah.
Guys,
Oh, we got another
today
fucking
we're
ad.
trying.
You just get a cat girl ad? What are you?
Yeah.
What's that saying about your browsing history, Michael?
You know. No comment. Thanks, Lithros. All right, maybe we'll take a look at fifth column mouse. I like this already.
Yes.
I like the color.
Did you watch the Boomerang channel as a kid?
No, what is that? Throwback stuff?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Throwback cartoon, Warner Brothers stuff.
I did watch some of these. I just don't know how I watched them. Probably someone put them on.
Right.
We probably had a tape, now that I think about it.
I didn't have a TV as a kid, but my grandma did.
Oh, wow.
So we just watched a bunch of TV when we went over there.
I'm trapped. Trapped. I gotta get out of this. I gotta think fast. Trapped.
Hey.
Oh boy, they dropped the weapon.
I love this guy.
See, the rabbit's more rabbit-like. He's a bit less human.
For sure.
Fat Elmer.
Look, fellas, I'm Rin Tin Tin. Now I got you. You're a dead wabbit.
Uh-oh.
Telegram for Elmer Fudd.
The motion is... The way they animate motion is also slightly different. And like a little more similar to modern cartoons.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm rich. I'm rich.
Hey, this guy just got crypto rich.
But you don't get 1 cent if you harm any animals, especially wabbits.
What?
You're free now with the wabbit. Go and womp and frolic in the forest.
Oyster, who's Lola Bunny?
Boy, I'm rich. Okay, fellas, break it up, break it up. $3 million.
I see where this is going. Oh, from Space Jam.
Yeah, they changed her her figure, and people are very upset because she's less sexualized now.
Right. Don't do it, Elmer.
I'll blow your head off. I'm just an angel in the sky.
Is that a penis?
Wait, what?
Angel in the sky.
Oh, God. Oh, no, wait.
Maybe tail?
Oh, no.
But why would his tail crop up like that?
We're going to find... What are we looking at? Oh, no. That's just between his legs.
No, really?
Yeah. I think that's just
Oh.
his
Yeah, you might be right. But
absolute lack of genitalia.
I feel like the proportions are off. Like, that seems high for his crotch.
It's his gap. Oh, let's see.
I guess he's a little stretchy.
Yeah, he's a cartoon.
Yeah. The tail should be obscuring that, but I'll let it pass.
Yeah. Like he's got weird human-shaped teeth.
Yeah.
This is way better than the other one, by the way.
Leagues beyond, yeah. This is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I want there to be like something really suggestive, or like, you know, like something you wouldn't, you know, in cartoons have something like you wouldn't notice as a kid.
Yeah.
What are you trying to do? Kill me? You're fracturing my skull. I'm gonna call Uncle Louie. That's what I'm gonna do.
Oh no.
Operator. Hey, you got a nickel? Hello, operator. Give me walnut treat. Oh, that's you, Mert? How's every little thing?
Cool phone.
Please.
I do like the phone, yeah.
Don't call Uncle Louie. I won't hurt you again. I promise.
He's so rueful.
Well, okay. But watch your step after this, fat boy. Hey, what do you got to eat around this joint? Eat? Eat? Oh, fix this guy. Think he'll twig me, huh? Step right this way.
I think he gets fatter as he gets angrier.
That'll fix him.
That laugh is amazing.
Double cross him.
Clone Slurp, I think, yeah. I think World War II was ongoing. I don't think the U.S. was in the war, though.
Hey, I'm getting pneumonia. Open up. I'll die. No, I'm too young to die. Please, please let me in. Hey, this scene ought to get me the Academy Award.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Love it.
Uncle Louie for me.
Okay, 42 we were in the war.
What have I done? $3 million all shot to pieces. Don't die with the rabbit. Please don't die. Walk a pipe.
Someone figure out how much $3 million was adjusted for inflation.
Yeah. Probably a lot.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
a
no,
small
another
business
ad.
with big goals.
Disaster. Oh, here we go. 48 million.
Special delivery. Your Uncle Louie has kicked the bucket. You now inherit $3 million. Inheritance tax, $2 million, defense tax,
Oh, no.
which leaves you owing us $1.98. Please remit. You don't get the dough, Butterball.
That's funny.
Oh, but I'm
It's amazing.
gonna get you.
Wait, can we go back and just screenshot that? Because I kind of want that, and I don't know if I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
Pretty clever.
Yeah.
Alright,
Leaves you owing
got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
us $1.98. Please remit.
Please, we mit.
Don't get the dough, Butterball. No, but I'm gonna get you.
I think calling this guy fat so much is like a little bit of an era thing. Calling him Butterball or fat man, fat boy, like.
I want to read like an analysis of their relationship versus like Tom and Jerry and Roadrunner and what's it called?
A lot of these guys did just copy each other like crazy.
Yeah.
The different companies and stuff.
Yeah. Because they're all sort of the same cat and mouse thing, but the dynamics are all different.
Like how Elmer just starts singing with him.
Well, yipe again. Don't go down there. It's dark.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I think there are a couple similar things with it. I saw this cool guide of like animation motion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the way things like stretch and I can't really describe it.
It
very
like
well.
fucks with the physics kind of.
Right, exactly. Physics. Really interesting.
Mm.
All the principles, or like when they start to run and their legs like rotate and they haven't started to actually move yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Way better than the other one.
for sure.
Team, we need to rate it. I want to say 7. I'm going to give it like a 7.8. Or like an 8. We're getting a lot of 7s. Chat thinks it's a 7. I'm trying to Google if this one Red Hot Riding Hood is still in copyright. Because it's very funny and not something you'd see now.
I don't have anything interesting to say about it, but the whole copyright system, as it relates to like Twitch and YouTube, is fucked.
Yeah.
Completely fucked.
Yeah. Say more. Say a little more.
I don't know. Like, there's this music channel that I like, and he like will go through famous songs and like explain why they're great and like play a couple seconds and explain what's going on musically, and like he gets like demonetized, or like they threaten to ban his entire channel because it's like famous songs. But like that's completely under fair use, like legally. It's
Yeah.
just that YouTube is choosing to be more stringent than the law, and like this is like a super educational thing, like
Yeah.
millions of people enjoy, and the dude's like possibly getting his entire channel deleted because of it, because he has like 2 strikes now.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that stuff with Twitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that with, like, when this recording goes up, there's some chance I'll get it for some random song that was in my supposedly copyright-free, audio,
Right.
like music, and like, who knows if
But, like,
this channel's gonna try to claim something. It's a bunch.
Yeah, but like we're not pirating it. This is like, I mean, I don't really know the law too in depth, but I
Right.
believe that like this is completely, this is the point of this video is us commenting on the video, not
Yeah.
that we're like restreaming it. So
Right.
it should be fun for us to watch whatever.
All right. So what do you say? Should we watch one more and then call it, because we have cleared our 3-hour mark, and I feel like we hit all the
Right.
topics I really wanted to.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Totally. As my lawyer, Luthros, agrees. All right. Chat, any opinions or shloms, since you're our honored guest, if you want to pick one.
The first one I picked didn't turn out too great, so I'll leave it to the chat.
Bounce it to chat. All right. Yankee Doodle Daffy is an option for hardcore World War II stuff.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yankee Doodle Daffy. I'm intrigued. All right. Boom. 1943. Let's do it. And we're going to get an ad in 2 seconds. Do it. All right. While this is playing, I'm going to order myself some chicken so that it'll start delivering.
Nice.
Have it on reorder.
Where are you based, by the way?
Right now, Chicago suburbs. Usually I'm in the Bay Area.
Cool. It's an Art Deco door. Pretty cool.
I better hurry. I just got 10 minutes to catch my plane.
Oh, wait, hold on. This is... Wait. Sorry, I'm confused. Porky Pig and Elmer Fudd are different people. Okay, I'm just... don't know what happened. The lines crossed in my head.
Yeah. They look pretty similar, like peripherally.
Right. Alright, I'm just going to add rice.
This is your lucky day. Opportunity is knocking. But I've got a very important appointment. I'll say you have my card. Yes, sir. Daffy Duck, personal representative of the most sensational discovery since the Sweater Girl. He's colossal, stupendous. One might even go so far.
Hold on, sorry. I just was an idiot and I was focusing on my food. What just happened?
Either I was mostly focusing on like the background and
Okay, sorry. The backgrounds are... wait, hold on. Let's just look at this shit.
Yeah, like it's super interesting visually.
Yeah. Look at that chair.
Yeah.
Daffy Duck, I love the hat.
This is your lucky day. Opportunity is knocking. But I've got a very important appointment. I'll say you have my card.
Actor's agent.
Sir, Daffy Duck, personal representative of the most sensational discovery since the Sweater Girl. He's colossal,
The what?
stupendous. One might even go so far as to say since the Sweater
Twitter girl?
The Swither Girl. I don't know. Someone said there's Bugs Bunny Elmer portraits on the wall.
go so far as to say he's mediocre. I give you that paragon of pep and personality, Sleepy Lagoon.
Sleepy Lagoon. Oh my god.
Picture a packed house. The kid's on. The orchestra gives him a 4-bar vamp, and the kid gives it to him like this. I'm just wild about Harry, and Harry's wild
Buildings in the
about
back.
me.
Yeah.
Very Chrysler building-esque.
Hmm.
I like it.
It probably is supposed to be the Empire State, but
Yeah.
He's the sweetest chocolate candy, and just like honey from a bee. Oh, I'm just wild about Harry, and he's just wild about cannot do without. He is from the south. Can't you hear me shout? Talking.
I feel like I have no idea what's happening, but I like it.
The kid finishes mid thunderous applause. Hooray!
I really like that lightning graphic design poster on the wall that was there for a second.
Hmm.
Here's some more. Ah, but does the kid give him another song? No, he makes with a banjo solo, like so.
Banjo solo.
Yeah, I thought these would be a little more comprehensible.
I think, okay, I think my interpretation is that Daffy is bamboozling, he's unsuccessfully bamboozling Porky into, like, doing business with him.
Right.
He's pitching something.
I think he's pitching the kid as an actor. Did I completely miss that?
That could be it. Porky Pig is a talent
yeah.
agent.
Okay.
Okay, so he's pitching the kid.
The kid's repertoire.
Let me show you the kid's repertoire.
Well, here's one the kid does that you like. Hoo-hoo!
Oh god.
Sweetie down the rotationary, she makes up the caballero with something he can't resist. When she kisses him, he's just like a Solaris with a t-shirt.
Okay.
And I punch her right in his face. When she loves him, ni que una dove.
Corn.
She is the one hot tamale who can love him goodbye golly in September and November. Not to mention cool December in the springtime, in the summer, or when autumn leaves are falling. She will love him. Up, shake up, shake up, shake up, la la, la 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 la. Woo!
He's like, fuck this.
I'm a cowboy, yes sir I am. Yes sir I am a cowboy, yes sir I am. I'm a cowboy, yes sir I am. Yes sir I am a cowboy. Yee-hee!
That won't hold him. I know it. He's moving out of the country.
We watch the skyways or the land and the sea, are ready to fly anywhere the duty calls, ready to fight to be free.
Where are they dropping him?
You're just an angel in disguise, holding down from above.
He just is the parachute.
Over hill and over dale, we're always on the dusty trail, hunting fox and hunting quail. Tally-ho, I am hunting fool. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. My horse and I are of the finest breed. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Just like the wind, I ride my forward speed. Sure of foot, sure of eye. Peeling onions make me cry. This makes no sense. So do I. So don't you go and beat me, Daddy, to the nearest bar. Yeah.
There's definitely some sort of musical,
And what a finale.
some sort of cultural context that I'm missing, but I mean, I love it.
Right.
I really like this one.
He's letting him have it. He's doing all of it at once.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. All right. Let's see what the kid can do. Okay, Sleepy, do your stuff.
Sleepy.
He's gonna love it.
He puts his lollipop in a case. I like that. my god, what the fuck?
I want to know his reaction.
That was it. That's all we
That
get.
was-
That's all, folks.
That was certainly something.
Yeah. I think I like that one a little bit more than it had like less of a plot than the Bugs Bunny one, but I
I liked the aesthetic. Like the interior design was interesting.
yeah. We got a 9 from Oyster. Yeah, the
Lithros is not impressed.
with their 6. Wrecked. This is great. All right, dude. We hit our program. Any other since we're on, anything else you wanted to throw out? You know, anything you're working on next? Like, what's on the horizon for you? I guess it's a question.
I don't know. I mean, I'd love. Yeah, I don't know, and I don't have anything to pitch really, or plug. But I mean, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I feel bad because there's so many cool accounts, especially smaller accounts that I want to follow. But some of you might have noticed I keep my following count at a certain number.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gotta. It's actually taken a lot of work, but I think at some point I gotta stop doing that because I want to follow new people and it's a pain in the ass. But
Right.
anyways, yeah. So if anyone follows me on Twitter and I don't follow back, I'm sorry, but I still usually add people to lists and see their tweets. But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if anyone has any last minute questions.
And you're going to keep making NFTs for a while, I presume.
If there's still a market for it and people are still I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Like this last one hasn't gotten a bid. I guess I set the reserve price way too high, and I think we didn't really talk about it. But anyway, like, yeah, I'll still make it because I think people are still interested, even if no one bought the last one.
To see what you can do, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I don't see why not. I'm having fun, and if I stop doing that, then I'll keep doing similar stuff on Twitter.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I guess the last thing I would leave everyone out, because like a couple of people ask me questions that I feel like my opinion isn't really any more valid than anyone else's. So like, you know, yeah, anything that I said here today is just my opinion only. Some of you are probably a lot smarter than I am, a lot more interesting. You know, everyone's opinions are valid, and
Well, we like getting your takes, Shaloms. We like getting them.
That's fair. I really appreciate you having me on, man, because I mean this was super fun.
Totally. Yeah, dude. I'm glad to have had you. I mean, in particular, because I'm trying to explore like what type of content I'm making, and
I thought you were going to say your NFT strategy.
Yeah, my NFT strategy. I've got this new one. It's got -1 pixels. It deletes a pixel from your computer at random. It breaks your monitor. No, I'm trying to figure out how to. I don't know. I just like something like I like the idea of as I'm building my platform, like I want to bring great stuff to people and bring stuff up, and I think the NFTs are cool. I don't know if it'll be a thing or not. I think there's a lot
some
of
people would tell you that you should make a Kersey token, and you know, and like there are some discords where you have to own a certain amount of a token to be in the Discord. I don't necessarily know if that's a good idea, but
should I mint like follower tokens for my Twitch account?
Could be cool.
Yeah,
my friend Miguel just minted Miguel token. He sent me 10,000 of them, and you know,
right.
It's relatively easy to do. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had good advice, but you probably know a lot more about this than me. But you know, I'm confident. You definitely. I don't even know exactly what your niche is or your vibe or whatever, but it's definitely something. It's unique, and I certainly enjoy it.
Yes, I mean, so far the shows have been good, and I do some philosophy videos and stuff. So
I think people interact with people on a regular basis on Twitter, or they're just like aware of them, even if they aren't mutuals, and they want to know more about them, like as people, you know. And
right.
I think you're exploring that, and I think it's super cool.
Totally. All right, chat. Unless y'all have anything else for us, we're gonna call it here. Thanks for coming by, everyone who's especially hung on till the end. Good to see you, Lithros, Cone, and Magic Squirrel. I don't know if I've seen you before, but if I haven't missed you, then you might be. But I think you're new around these parts. Well, thank you for coming by. We had a lot of great callers as well.
Yeah, and everyone feel free to DM me on Twitter and hit me up any questions, you just want to show me stuff that you're working on, just want to say hi, my
Sweet.
DMs will always be open.
All right, there we go.